Blood splatters across the desolate ground as a monstrous, wolf-like creature lies gravely wounded, its fangs bared in a final, defiant snarl. The battlefield is littered with the fallen. The once formidable 10 strongest knights who guarded the continent now lie lifeless, their life force and mana utterly depleted. A colossal, bloodied hand slams down, tearing through the earth with devastating force, hinting at the immense power of the unseen foe. A guttural, triumphant "Kuhaha" erupts from the monstrous demon commander Gluttony, its single red eye glowing menacingly as it reveals its razor-sharp fangs. The imposing figure of Demon Commander Gluttony stands revealed, a hulking beast covered in blood and scars, its name displayed as a chilling testament to its power. Engulfed in a furious red aura, Tiny unleashes a powerful swing with his weapon, aiming to cleave through the Demon Commander Gluttony's massive arm. A pained scream of "AHH" escapes Tiny's lips as he is brutally struck, blood erupting from the impact. Tiny is sent flying through the air, a trail of blood marking his trajectory as he's violently flung away by the Demon Commander Gluttony's devastating counterattack. With a primal roar, Tiny's bloodied face contorts as he defiantly screams, "Shut up," his rage burning bright despite his injuries. A new, winged demon-like creature, with a tail and horns, prepares to unleash a devastating lightning attack, its form silhouetted against the stormy sky. A blinding explosion of golden energy erupts, engulfing the landscape in a searing inferno, signifying a powerful attack's impact. A weary smile graces Tiny's bloodied face as he whispers of finally finding some peace, his battle seemingly concluded. Tiny is left kneeling on the desolate, blood-soaked ground, his body battered and broken, his massive weapon lying beside him. The landscape around him is a testament to the brutal conflict. Suddenly, a gravely wounded figure emerges from the dust, the Sword Emperor Asgard von Valentia. Tiny, astonished, asks if he is still alive. Asgard, bleeding from his mouth, acknowledges his impending death. He knows his time is short. With a pained expression, Asgard declares he has a final request before succumbing to his wounds. Tiny, looking down at the ground, appears confused, asking what Asgard is talking about. Asgard, still lying wounded, recalls hearing that Tiny came from the slums, questioning if he truly had nothing to protect. Asgard's face is etched with a mixture of pain and a knowing gaze, his eyes fixed on Tiny as he awaits an answer. Tiny, his face still streaked with blood, expresses his internal surprise at Asgard's unexpected line of questioning. Asgard, with a slight frown, repeats his question, his gaze unwavering. Tiny, gripping his weapon tightly, declares his deep aversion to appearing undignified or weak. With a resolute expression, Tiny proclaims that a true man must always carry himself with confidence and that he would never flee from a challenge. Asgard bursts into a hearty, blood-stained laugh, seemingly amused by Tiny's defiant spirit. Asgard, still laughing, remarks on Tiny's enduring strength and commends his spirit with a resounding "good." Tiny's expression is stern and unyielding, his eyes fixed on Asgard, absorbing his words with unwavering resolve. Asgard, his face weary but determined, gives Tiny a crucial instruction. If he ever returns, he must seek him out. Asgard cautions Tiny about the complexities of time, explaining that his past self would not believe a reckless visit, hinting at a temporal paradox. A glowing, ornate ring is presented, shimmering with a mysterious purple light, a key item in Asgard's plan. Tiny reacts with wide-eyed shock, enveloped in a surge of blue energy, as the implications of Asgard's words and the ring become apparent. Asgard, now bathed in blue energy, emphasizes the significance of the ring, stating he never liked its flower design, and urges Tiny to remember this crucial detail. With his final breath, Asgard implores Tiny to find him as soon as possible, his voice fading amidst the surging blue light. Tiny's face contorts in a mixture of shock and urgency, the blue energy swirling around him as Asgard's last words resonate. The blue energy dissipates, and Tiny's eyes close, his expression shifting to one of exhaustion and lingering pain, as if waking from a profound experience. Tiny, now appearing as a bruised, much younger boy, lies in a humble bed, with a female figure resting beside him, suggesting a drastic shift in time or reality. Young Tiny, with a bruised cheek, wonders if this too is merely a dream, lamenting the need to relive his painful past once more. His thoughts drift to the traumatic memory of his sister's body being taken away, a dark period in his life that he is forced to confront again. Young Tiny's face is a mix of pain and fierce resolve, his eyes burning with a renewed determination despite the fresh bruises. Tiny's internal fury burns as he recalls Irina, that conniving woman who kept the golden ring hidden from him. Brutal memories flash back in his mind. Two men relentlessly beat him, one stomping on his body while the other cruelly tugs at his hair. The two tormentors casually walk away, leaving Tiny a broken mess on the floor beside a simple bed. Vicious punch lands squarely on Tiny's face, its force emphasized by a sharp visual impact. Tiny's face, swollen and marred by fresh bruises, reflects the agony of the relentless assault. He collapses to the ground, his body twisting from the impact of another brutal kick delivered by one of the aggressors. The bald attacker laughs maniacally, mocking Tiny with a taunt. "Ha ha ha, how did you like my hectopascal kick?" Tiny clenches his jaw, a bitter thought echoing. Even knowing my sister was dead, they didn't stop. As if their brutality wasn't enough, the two men now shamelessly attempt to drag away her lifeless body. The bald man dismisses his companion, asking, "She's dead, man. Why do you bother?" The other replies with a chilling grin, "There are some sick dudes who enjoy dead bodies. Not to mention, organs and fresh bodies can rake in some good cash." Tiny, bruised and broken on the bed, can only manage a choked whisper, "Stop." His mind races, questioning his own powerlessness. Can I really not protect anything, even in my own dreams? Tiny desperately commands his unresponsive body, "Move it. Please just move. God damn it." Suddenly, a brilliant blue energy surges, engulfing Tiny's hand in a vibrant, crackling aura. Tiny stares in stunned surprise as the mysterious blue energy radiates from his hands, an unexpected power manifesting. Fueled by this new power, Tiny springs to his feet, glowing with blue energy, and lunges forward, aiming his attack at one of his tormentors. Blue energy erupts, striking the attacker with immense force and sending him violently flying across the room. Tiny sits amidst the blue light, observing the fallen attacker with quiet intensity in his gaze. With newfound agility, Tiny delivers a powerful kick to one attacker while the other prepares to counter. The attacker's face twists in a snarl of rage and disbelief as Tiny's sudden power overwhelms him. In a chaotic turn, the two attackers violently strike each other, their blows landing with brutal force. Tiny grits his teeth, his face a mask of fierce concentration and pain as the blue energy pulses around him amidst the struggle. Both attackers lie defeated on the floor, their forms sprawled lifelessly, while his sister's body remains nearby. Tiny cradles his sister's lifeless body, his form hunched over in a silent, heartbreaking embrace. Tiny's bruised face is etched with raw emotion, tears welling in his wide eyes as the blue energy continues to emanate from his hands. As Tiny looks upon his sister's peaceful, deceased face, a profound realization dawns on him. The ending of the nightmares I've had until now has changed. Tiny sits up, the blue energy still surrounding him, and wonders aloud, but why all of a sudden? Tiny stares at his glowing hands, a deep confusion settling over him as he thinks, I couldn't manipulate mana at this age. A fleeting image of an older, stern man with long, spiky hair flashes through Tiny's mind, a cryptic presence. As the blue energy pulses, Tiny's thoughts solidify into a shocking question. Did he really send me to the past? Tiny's jaw clenches, his mind reeling as he internally questions if this impossible reality is truly not a dream. His eyes snap open, wide with raw terror as he stares into the bloody, brutal reality before him, a fresh bruise marring his cheek. Blue energy pulses around Tiny's hands, a stark contrast to the injuries on his face, as he gazes at his glowing palms with a mix of awe and trepidation. A guttural scream tears from Tiny's throat, tears streaming down his face as his glowing, clenched fists tremble with an overwhelming surge of emotion. Tiny hunches over, his small form dwarfed by the desolate room, internally cursing his current frail body even as he acknowledges his frustration is a useless outburst. His gaze hardens, a bruised cheek twitching as Tiny recalls that even the legendary sword emperor himself harbored doubts about this power. Tiny gazes down at the still form of his sister, a somber resolve settling over him as he considers this new reality, a chance to finally let her rest in peace. His eyes, though still bearing the marks of recent hardship, now burn with a renewed, steely determination. Spectral image flickers in Tiny's mind, a voice urging him to find me as soon as possible. Wiping a hand across his bruised eye, Tiny internally promises the Sword Emperor to just wait for a while. A chilling mental image of his past tormentors flashes, particularly Wolf, the bastard who killed his sister, a foe Tiny barely defeated in his past life by snapping his spine. With renewed resolve, Tiny clenches his fist, blue energy crackling around him as his teeth grit in silent fury. Tiny sits solemnly beside his sister's lifeless form, a quiet sorrow etched onto his young face. Solemn tolling of church bells echoes across the landscape as a small gathering assembles before a modest church and graveyard. Tiny's thoughts linger on his sister, Irina, as her peaceful face rests amidst a bed of soft purple flowers. Tiny's weary eyes reflect a deep sadness as he muses on the rare, black-colored eyes and hair that were the only physical traits he and Irina shared on this continent. Tender memory flashes, showing a younger Tiny being lovingly comforted by his smiling sister. Tiny's face contorts in a pained grimace, burdened by the crushing regret of sending his sister to rest without ever being able to repay her kindness. From above, the somber scene of Irina's funeral unfolds, with Tiny standing among other children as a priest conducts the final rites. Emma observes Tiny with a silent, concerned gaze, while Tiny internally questions if his recent transformation is a direct result of Irina's death. Emma, identified as Irina's friend, observes Tiny with a thoughtful expression, sensing a subtle but undeniable change in him. Emma's gaze falls upon Tiny and the priest in the distance, her thoughts drifting back to Tiny's behavior even a while ago. Emma recalls Tiny sitting beside Irina's body, slurping soup from a bowl with a strange intensity. Emma's eyes widen in shock, a look of profound disbelief etched across her face. Emma's internal thoughts reel, horrified at the sight of that child Tiny consuming soup right in front of his sister's corpse. Emma's jaw drops in utter disbelief, her voice a panicked whisper as she exclaims, "What's that?" witnessing Tiny's cuts heal instantly before her very eyes. Camera focuses on Tiny's arm and torso, now completely unblemished, his previous cuts having vanished without a trace. Wait, Emma calls out, reaching for Tiny as he walks away, still concerned about his injuries, unaware of his miraculous recovery. Emma gently touches Tiny's head, expressing her frustration that he always listens to Irina's words over hers, to which Tiny simply responds, "Emma." Emma's eyes widen in profound shock as Tiny, with an unsettling calm, thanks her for the soup. The red-haired woman's eyes remain wide with profound shock as Tiny's unsettlingly calm declaration echoes in her mind. He will make sure to return the favor for her care. Her expression shifts to deep contemplation, a finger pressed to her chin, as she questions Tiny's intentions, especially after his sudden announcement of a funeral. As Tiny stands nearby, the red-haired woman, still lost in thought, wonders aloud what exactly he has in mind with his strange behavior. Tiny's gaze hardens with resolve, confirming his conviction that this is the only way he can truly make amends. Tiny stands solemnly, his fists clenched, reminding himself not to succumb to blame or discouragement, believing this path is what his departed friend would have wanted. A flashback reveals a kind woman with dark hair, smiling warmly as she imparts words of encouragement to always be confident and keep their heads held high. An aerial view shows Tiny and several others gathered around a simple coffin, mourning the loss of the woman within, laid to rest in a field of white flowers. Tiny looks up at the clear blue sky, his face set with fierce determination as he clenches his fist, ready to face whatever comes next. 1 month later, the scene shifts to a moonlit town, where Tiny walks with an aura of vibrant blue energy surrounding him, his journey having clearly progressed. Tiny's face, illuminated by a powerful blue glow, breaks into a confident, almost mischievous grin as he declares his readiness to move forward. As Tiny walks down a path, 2 men observe him from behind, one questioning if he is the beggar kid from the slums, hinting at his past. Tiny's eyes narrow, filled with intense anger, as he demands to know the whereabouts of someone named Wolf. One of the men confronts Tiny, flexing his arm aggressively and demanding to know how a mere brat dares to speak that name. The man raises his hand, his face contorted in anger, preparing to strike Tiny, who stands unfazed. With lightning-fast reflexes, Tiny blocks the man's incoming strike, his eyes wide with a question, "Why?" Tiny's grip tightens on the man's arm, a chilling smile spreading across his face as he challenges the man, asking what's wrong with him, calling a name. The man screams in agony as Tiny's power surges, crackling with electricity, inflicting searing pain through his arm. First man collapses to his knees, clutching his injured arm, while Tiny stands over him, unfazed, as the second man watches in stunned silence. The second man stares at Tiny, his face a mixture of fear and confusion, wondering if Tiny somehow acquired a potion to gain such strength. The second man lunges forward, his expression twisted with rage and desperation, attempting to overpower Tiny. Tiny delivers a brutal punch to the second man's stomach, the impact clearly visible and forceful. With a single hand, Tiny effortlessly lifts the struggling man into the air, showcasing his overwhelming physical power. The second man strains, his face contorted in disbelief and pain, as he struggles against Tiny's grip, baffled by Tiny's unexpected strength. Tiny's menacing grin returns as he advises the man to simply give up, his confidence radiating. Tiny delivers a swift, powerful kick to the man's outstretched hands, shattering them with brutal force. Tiny's eyes glow with intense blue energy, a triumphant smile on his face as his power surges visibly. Tiny's internal monologue reveals a significant development. His mana body has fully manifested, a feat he couldn't achieve in his previous life, indicated by a glitching visual effect. A visual representation shows Tiny's physical form alongside a glowing blue, ethereal mana body, highlighting the duality of his existence. Tiny focuses, surrounded by surging blue energy, as the narrator explains that the interaction of these two bodies is the core principle of his secret technique for immense power. The red-haired woman stares in utter disbelief, holding an empty bowl, as Tiny devours potatoes on the floor, having consumed 10 days' worth of her food in moments. Fueled by his recent feast, Tiny unleashes his raw power, sending a surprised adversary flying backwards with devastating force. Tiny stands over the cowering man, revealing a profound realization he had after reforming his mana body. Tiny's sinister grin widens as he explains that newly awakened mana finds an easier time settling into damaged bodies. Tiny delivers a swift, brutal kick to the cowering man's leg, propelling him further across the ground. Man is launched high into the air, his face contorted in a scream of terror as Tiny watches his ascent from below. He slams into a distant building with immense force, a blinding impact erupting on contact that shatters the structure. The shockwave from the impact radiates outwards, throwing several other men violently backwards in a chaotic explosion of debris. Unfazed by the chaos he created, Tiny calmly steps through a newly formed opening, his silhouette radiating power. Tiny maintains his sinister smirk as one of the red-haired officials questions his identity, calling him a beggar brat. Tiny stands enveloped in a faint blue aura, drawing the stunned attention of the surrounding red-haired officials. Two of the red-haired officials glare, their eyes burning red with rage and determination. Tiny swiftly ducks beneath a powerful swing from a much larger adversary, moving with impossible speed. Tiny grins menacingly at the bald man, declaring he has a surprise ready for him. The bald man's face contorts in a silent scream of agony and shock, caught completely off guard. Bald man is launched skyward, his body arcing violently as other officials below recoil in shock and fear. Tiny unleashes a barrage of rapid-fire strikes, a whirlwind of kicks and punches creating explosive impacts against his foes. Two more men tumble headfirst down a grand staircase, while another watches the chaotic scene unfold in utter horror. Tiny ruthlessly stomps on a defeated foe, as yet another opponent is sent flying high into the air with a powerful blow. Man is violently slammed into the wooden floor, leaving a shattered crater in his wake as dust and debris erupt. Tiny's boots stand firmly over the prone form of a defeated enemy, a testament to his overwhelming power. Surveying the unconscious bodies, Tiny declares he's finished with the minor threats, leaving only the two red-haired officials. One of the red-haired officials draws his sword, his expression hardening with grim resolve to face Tiny. Tiny points to himself with a playful yet sinister grin, ready for the next challenge and eager for more combat. One of the red-haired officials observes Tiny, recognizing him as a powerful mana user. Two red-haired officials exchange sinister grins, plotting to sell Tiny's corpse for a high price, knowing the value of a mana user's remains. Tiny holds up a tattered boot, a look of mild surprise on his face as he examines the damaged item. As the two red-haired officials descend to attack, Tiny looks at his hand, observing that it's all broken. Mustached Knight swings a man by his leg as a makeshift weapon, shocking the older brown-haired official, who exclaims in disbelief. The older brown-haired official sighs in exasperation, questioning the Mustached Knight's lack of class, to which Tiny retorts, asking how he's supposed to possess such a thing. The older brown-haired official adopts a fighting stance, instructing Tiny to learn proper hand-to-hand combat instead of crude tricks, as Tiny mirrors his posture. Tiny mirrors the fighting posture, a mischievous grin spreading across his face as he confidently declares his intention to maintain his dignity. Two red-haired figures recoil in shock, their movements frantic as Tiny's unexpected counterattack sends one flying. Tiny, a low blur of motion, delivers a swift kick, sending one opponent staggering while another guard frantically draws his sword, caught off guard by the sudden assault. One of the red-haired figures lunges forward, a determined snarl on his face as he throws a powerful punch. But Tiny is faster, a blur of motion as his fist connects squarely with the red-haired figure's jaw, a sharp impact echoing through the room. Without missing a beat, Tiny spins, his leg lashing out in a powerful kick that sends another red-haired figure soaring into the air. Both red-haired figures crash to the floor, one groaning in pain as Tiny lands lightly, his movements precise and efficient. A third red-haired figure attempts to intervene, but Tiny leaps, delivering a brutal uppercut that lifts the man clean off his feet. The third red-haired figure collapses, hitting the ground with a heavy thud as Tiny looks down at his fallen opponent. Another red-haired figure slides across the polished floor, the force of Tiny's attack sending him skidding helplessly. Tiny delivers a decisive final kick, ensuring his opponent remains down. The brief skirmish swiftly concluded. Last red-haired figure is sent flying into the distance, kicking up a cloud of dust as he crashes, leaving Tiny victorious. A hulking, red-bearded figure, identified as Wolf, the ruler of the invaders, stares in disbelief, demanding to know Tiny's identity after witnessing the swift defeat of his men. Tiny's expression turns serious, his thoughts drifting to a past life where he was caught off guard by certain revelations. He recalls the shock of discovering that a seemingly insignificant wolf, once a pimp in a remote area, held a far greater secret. That wolf, now revealed as a towering, silver-furred beastman, belonged to the elite beastman tribe, considered the pinnacle of demi-human races. Tiny remembers how, even among the beastman tribe, the pure silver werewolf stood out as an exceptionally rare and powerful entity. This unique trait was traditionally a hallmark of the direct royal lineage of the Werbeast royal family, signifying immense power and heritage. Back in the present, Wolf's rage intensifies as he confronts Tiny, demanding to know if he was responsible for the chaos, swearing to uncover the truth. Tiny, with a confident smirk, challenges Wolf, asking if he can't discern the obvious, and then mockingly suggests that Wolf's resolve has already crumbled. Wolf's eyes blaze crimson with unbridled fury as he snarls, vowing to rip Tiny's mouth off for his insolence. Tiny remains unfazed, casually standing over a fallen guard as he taunts Wolf, encouraging him to unleash his full power from the very beginning. Wolf's transformation begins, his body contorting as monstrous claws and feet erupt from his form, accompanied by a guttural roar. Fully transformed into a towering, red-furred werewolf, Wolf looms over Tiny, his massive back to the viewer as he challenges Tiny to come at him. Tiny looks up at the transformed wolf, a hint of surprise or confusion crossing his features. Tiny observes the transformed beast, noting aloud that this version of Wolf lacks the distinctive silver fur he remembers from his past life. Tiny, with a hint of disdain, questions Wolf's current form, mockingly asking what kind of puppy he has become. Wolf's eyes glow with renewed rage, his snarl deepening as he reacts with explosive fury to Tiny's insulting remark. Enraged, the red-furred werewolf lunges with savage intent, forcing Tiny to quickly react and brace himself for the incoming attack. The monstrous werewolf attacks with a sweeping motion, but Tiny deftly evades, sliding across the floor to avoid the deadly claws. Tiny, having deftly evaded the monstrous werewolf's initial assault, observes the berserk beastman, acknowledging its power but mentally dismissing it, knowing it pales in comparison to threats he faced in his previous life. With a swift, powerful strike, Tiny delivers a brutal punch directly to the werewolf's jaw, sending a shockwave through its massive frame. As blue energy crackles around his fists, Tiny's eyes blaze with fury, demanding if they truly believe he returned to this life just to witness such pathetic chaos. Monstrous werewolf staggers backward, a spray of blood erupting from its injured head as Tiny swiftly repositions himself, maintaining his offensive. A calm, silver-furred beastman's words echo in Tiny's mind, revealing ancient knowledge. I've heard of it from a fellow beastman. I'll tell you how to deal with my kinfolks in their berserk state. The berserk werewolf lunges forward with a guttural roar, its blood-red eyes burning with unbridled rage as its massive claws stretch out to tear at anything in its path. Tiny moves with incredible speed, a blur of motion as he deftly weaves through a flurry of the werewolf's savage claw attacks, leaving behind multiple afterimages. Tiny delivers a devastating kick directly to the werewolf's head, causing a violent spray of blood, declaring this brutal force is the best treatment for a crazy dog. The colossal werewolf collapses to the ground, unconscious and bleeding, as Tiny turns his back on the fallen beast, the immediate threat subdued. A chilling grin spreads across Tiny's face as he looks down at the defeated beast, commanding it, "Don't die yet." Memory of the silver-furred beastman returns, giving a reassuring thumbs up, explaining that it's alright if you beat them up a little, since us beastmen have excellent regenerative ability. Following the recalled advice, Tiny delivers another sharp kick to the unconscious werewolf, a small impact resonating from the blow. The werewolf's face contorts in pain even in its unconscious state as Tiny continues to strike, ensuring it remains subdued. From the werewolf's perspective, the ceiling above is severely cracked, revealing a mysterious, glowing blue runic symbol embedded within the damaged structure. Tiny watches as the werewolf dissipates into a cloud of dust, leaving behind a small, ethereal blue orb that floats gently into the air. The red-haired official, now in his human form, regains consciousness, battered and bruised, as Tiny stands over him, asking sternly, "Have you come to your senses?" Red-haired official, visibly terrified, stammers out questions to Tiny, demanding to know, "Why are you doing this to me? What do you want?" Tiny's expression darkens with rage as he clenches his fists, silencing the official and warning him ominously, "Shut it. It won't just end with your spine this time." The red-haired official's eyes widen in absolute terror, his face a mask of pure dread as Tiny's chilling words sink in. Tiny stands over the groveling red-haired official, clasping his hands in a gesture of prayer, softly murmuring, "Sister, I hope this comforts you a little bit." Tiny's eyes burn with a cold, murderous intent, his bloodied hand raised as he seethes. "If it was up to me, I'd have taken your head." The red-haired official grovels desperately on the floor, a spectral image of his fear hovering nearby as he cries out in terror, "Heek! I was wrong. Lady Erna, I was wrong." The red-haired official cowers, covering his face in shame and terror, repeatedly mumbling, I am so sorry." Tears stream down the red-haired official's face as he desperately pleads to the memory of Lady Erna, confessing, Lady Erna, it was all my fault." Tiny looks down with a cold, unforgiving gaze, delivering a final, cutting remark, "But she probably wouldn't want to see your face after she passed." As the red-haired official continues to grovel and lament, "Lady Erna, I was wrong," Tiny's attention is drawn to a small, glowing red crystal lying on the floor. Tiny picks up the mysterious red crystal, observing it intently and remarking, I've never seen this stone before in my previous life." Suddenly, Tiny's hand begins to crack and blacken, enveloped by a sinister red energy as a look of profound shock washes over his face. Tiny's eyes widen in horror as he recognizes the malevolent power, realizing with a jolt demonic chi. The malevolent demonic chi swirls violently around the massive, chained spectral figure, its form contorting in agony, while Tiny stares up in profound horror, his bloodied hand trembling. A memory flashes. In a lush forest, Tiny, now in battle armor, asks his elven companion what she wished to show him. She gestures around, revealing the spiritual creatures that inhabit this sacred land. Tiny expresses his surprise, remarking that he was unaware of spiritual creatures existing outside of Elbenheim. The elven companion explains that animal spirits are exceptionally rare, then turns to Tiny, asking if he understands that the soul of a spiritual creature is, in essence, a spirit itself. Tiny confidently affirms his knowledge, even though he is not a spirit tamer. The elf then probes deeper, hinting at a more profound secret. With a knowing smile, the elven companion asks Tiny if he truly knows the quintessence, the very core of a spirit, as she holds up a shimmering, ethereal stone. Her hands cradle the glowing spirit stone, radiating a vibrant, otherworldly energy, its crystalline facets catching the light. Back in the present, Tiny, still reeling from the demonic energy, suddenly recognizes the item, exclaiming, "Spirit stone," as dark tendrils writhe around his bleeding hand. The subdued werewolf, kneeling before Tiny, profusely apologizes to Lady Arena. Tiny, observing the scene, internally questions why such a precious item would be possessed by a werewolf. The kneeling figure explains the spirit stone's unusual state, revealing it is emanating demonic chi, a power typically found in the spirit stone of demons. With a surge of resolve, Tiny powers up with crackling blue energy, declaring his intent to shatter the strange, dark chains binding the spectral form. Tiny stands ready, facing the colossal white wolf-like spirit, now clearly visible and bound by the demonic red chains, as his own blue energy pulses in defiance. A close-up on Tiny's face reveals his intense focus and determination, his eyes wide with the challenge before him, surrounded by the ominous red chains. The massive wolf-like spirit lets out a guttural roar, its glowing eyes blazing. Tiny wonders if he is witnessing a memory of the spirit itself, as hooded figures appear to attack the spectral beast. Multiple hooded figures, their red eyes glowing menacingly, close in for the attack, their blades glinting as they move with sinister intent. Two hooded figures strike simultaneously, their attacks tearing into the spirit wolf, drawing streaks of crimson against its ethereal form. The spirit wolf howls in agonizing pain, its head thrown back as blood splatters violently from its wounds. Overwhelmed, the colossal spirit wolf collapses, bleeding profusely as more hooded figures swarm around it, continuing their relentless assault. The hooded figures press their attack, standing over the fallen, bleeding spirit wolf, their weapons raised for a final, brutal blow. One hooded figure grins with malicious glee, clenching a pulsing, dark object in his hand, while his comrades continue to carve into the dying spirit. A different memory unfolds. A red hooded boy, looking stunned, receives the dark, pulsing object. The narrator questions his identity and why he is given such a potent item. The red-hooded boy's form distorts, transforming into a fearsome, red-furred werewolf, crackling with dark energy and demonic tendrils, his eyes glowing with malevolent power. Back in the present, the white wolf spirit looms behind Tiny, who declares to the kneeling werewolf, "So you guys were created." The kneeling figure continues his apologies to Lady Arena, while the spirit reveals it couldn't fully absorb the power because Tiny arrived too soon. The white wolf spirit's glowing blue eyes narrow, its fangs bared in a snarl, the kneeling werewolf's reflection visible in its terrifying maw. Tiny, extending his hand, commands the enraged spirit, "Stop," halting its imminent attack on the cowering, kneeling figure. Tiny, with a stern gaze, asserts that the kneeling figure deserves a far more agonizing and miserable death than a swift end. Tiny expresses his surprise that the spirit understood his command, musing aloud that he believed he lacked the talent for spirit taming. Memory returns. His elven companion ponders the possibility of a human becoming a spirit tamer, concluding it requires a pure soul and sufficient mana. Tiny, in his armored form from the flashback, reflects that only young children possess the purity required to achieve such a feat. Back in the present, Tiny scratches his head, recalling his elven companion's words, and wonders if his own youth might grant him the necessary purity. Tiny, with blood staining his hand, gazes at the unconscious man at his feet, a silent thought echoing his doubt. "I don't think I'm pure." His gaze shifts upward, meeting the ethereal presence of a majestic, white wolf-like spirit, its form shimmering with mystic energy. The spectral wolf leans in, its translucent snout gently nudging Tiny's head, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. The spirit's voice resonates, explaining that when Tiny shattered the chain, his mana surged into the spirit stone, establishing their connection. This influx of mana filled the cracked part of the spirit stone, allowing them to communicate freely. The wolf spirit nods, confirming the explanation, its ethereal form pulsing with a soft glow. Tiny, holding the now-whole spirit stone, looks up at the wolf, seeking confirmation. "In conclusion, I can make a contract with you, right?" The wolf spirit responds with another subtle nod, its eyes closed in silent agreement. A wide grin spreads across Tiny's face as he extends his hand, a surge of blue energy emanating from his palm, ready to forge the bond. Tiny recalls his elven companion's words, understanding that unlike magic, he wouldn't need constant focus on the spirit. Merely supplying it with enough mana for survival would transform it into a valuable ally. The spectral wolf lets out a fierce, silent roar, its eyes burning with intense blue light as Tiny's hand continues to glow. Tiny's expression hardens, a silent understanding passing between them. He realizes the wolf desires vengeance. Tiny grins, assuring the spirit it's no trouble at all. He declares his intention to eliminate anyone connected to demonic chi anyway. As the wolf spirit nuzzles him affectionately, a larger, more powerful blue wolf spirit manifests behind them, signifying their successful bond. Tiny gently strokes the wolf's head, holding its paw. He announces his decision to name the spirit. "Since you have silver fur just like the moon, I will name you Lunar Wolf." Tiny then turns his attention back to the fallen man, demanding to know who is truly behind him. The man, struggling, apologizes to Lady Arena before Lunar Wolf reveals he's a man who creates beast men with a spirit stone. Seeing the demonic chi, Tiny realizes it must be them, the demon worshippers, shadowy figures with glowing red eyes and their grotesque beast men creations. Tiny reflects that these demon worshippers had already plunged the world into chaos even before the Demon King's army appeared. He admits he was in a labyrinth at the time and lacks the full details. Losing patience, Tiny delivers a sharp kick to the man's stomach, demanding answers. He presses, "Shut up. The kid who gave you the spirit stone, he was one of the demon worshippers, right?" The man screams in pure terror as Lunar Wolf's spectral form looms menacingly behind him, its fangs bared. The man stammers, terrified of the W-Wolf. Tiny, undeterred, reiterates his question. "The guy who gave you the spirit stone, where is he?" Man finally starts to crack, whispering, "Oh, organization." Tiny, sensing a breakthrough, presses harder. Now he's talking. "Yeah, so where is that organization and what are they doing?" A chilling, bloodied grin spreads across the man's face as he warns Tiny, "They won't just let you get away with this." He then claims to be merely a test subject. Enraged by the man's defiance, Tiny unleashes a devastating, explosive punch directly to his stomach. Man collapses, a bloody mess on the floor, as Tiny stands over him, scratching his head in contemplation. The man, now ghostly pale and screaming, issues a final, desperate threat. "My organization will chase you." Tiny, however, initially dismisses it, assuming he meant the subordinates on the first floor. Tiny recalls a previous encounter where he trashed those subordinates, noting they didn't even realize Lunar Wolf was a beast man. He then menacingly asks the cowering man before him, "Will you start talking now or after you are beaten?" Tiny sighs in exasperation, shrugging his shoulders with a bloody hand. Ah, forget it. It's not like I've been living by using my head. As Tiny turns, a crack appears in the wall, revealing a pulsating blue orb of energy, hinting at a new mystery. Tiny stands amidst the destruction, gazing up at the mangled body of what appears to be a defeated foe, split as if by an immense force. Blue energy crackles around the scene, a testament to the power unleashed. Bree rains down from the impact, shimmering with residual blue energy as the defeated figure lies broken against the backdrop of a massive, reinforced vault door. Tiny kneels over the fallen warrior, his hand pressed against the chest, as a swirling blue energy symbol pulses mysteriously on the nearby vault door. The enigmatic blue symbol on the vault door glows intensely, prompting Tiny's internal thought, "My old ally." Blue energy surges from Tiny's hand, intertwining with the fallen warrior's arm, initiating a profound connection or transfer of power. Standing amidst mountains of treasure, Tiny, accompanied by his loyal white wolf, corrects his thought, "I mean my future ally. It's time I make him trust me." A triumphant grin spreads across Tiny's face as he holds up a gleaming golden ring, his fingers stained with blood from the earlier encounter. The intricate golden ring, shaped like a soaring bird, is revealed to be the Valencia family's ring, hinting at a powerful lineage. A new scene unfolds as Lady Clemence, adorned in a regal necklace, inquires of Tiny, "Kid, what's your name?" Kneeling humbly, Tiny stammers his name to Lady Clemence, "Tiny," as the red-haired official stands observing nearby. Lady Clemence smiles warmly, finding Tiny's name endearing, and tells him, "What a cute name. It suits you." Lady Clemence's gloved hand gently reaches towards Tiny's palm, where the golden ring rests, a moment of significant exchange. Back in the treasure chamber, Tiny stands beside his white wolf, reflecting on the fallen warrior as the narrator reveals, "Everyone who lives in the Aslan Empire knew her." A radiant image of Chloe von Valencia, dressed in an elegant light blue gown, is presented, a figure known throughout the Aslan Empire. Chloe von Valencia is shown in a flashback, graciously interacting with the common folk, shaking an old woman's hand, radiating warmth and popularity. A grand carriage departs a stately manner, as the narrator explains a unique tradition. There is a tradition in the Valencia family that the children who reach the legal age, the blonde woman, possibly Chloe, stands in quiet reverence or sorrow before a towering statue, hinting at a solemn ritual or personal struggle. Tiny recalls the past, realizing this tradition led to their meeting in the red light district of Files Estate, located on the outskirts of the dukedom. He thinks that must have been the reason why we met at Invader. Young Tiny's wide, innocent eyes gaze upwards, lost in the memories of his past life and the fateful encounter. Holding the Valencia family ring, Tiny reflects on his past life, lamenting, "In my past life, I couldn't get the ring back because it took me a while to take my revenge. It was also hard to get help." With a determined expression, Tiny turns to his white wolf, his voice filled with menace as he asks, "So, where's that fucker?" A chilling, wide grin spreads across Tiny's face as he declares, "I knew it was about time," signaling his readiness for confrontation. The armored legs of a knight stand over a defeated foe, as the narration describes the brutal tactic. He held that guy's leg and swung him. Amidst the chaos of fallen guards, the mustached knight observes the scene with a bewildered expression, speculating, "I'm sure he is a mana user." Faces contort in disbelief as the mustached knight questions, "Are you telling me it was just one child who made all this mess?" The imposing mustached knight glares down at a cowering commoner, demanding answers amidst the widespread disarray. Mustached knight delivers a forceful punch to a subordinate's stomach, raging, "This wolf bastard, how the hell is he managing his subordinates?" The armored knight is revealed as I Am, the File's outer castle commander of guards, his stern expression reflecting the gravity of the situation. Tiny stands casually on a staircase, a confident smirk playing on his lips as he glances back at the chaos he's created. Commander I Am confronts Tiny, demanding, "Kid, was it really you who caused all this mess?" To which Tiny confidently replies, "Yeah." Continuing his furious interrogation, Commander I Am's face contorts in rage, demanding to know if Tiny truly comprehends the gravity of his actions. Tiny, unfazed by the commander's fury, casually explains that he was simply dealing with some rotten bastards, questioning why a knight like Commander I Am would even bother with such trivial matters. With a cunning smile, Tiny reveals his insight, suggesting that Commander I Am himself was deeply entangled, having received substantial bribes from the wolf. Commander I Am's eyes widen in disbelief and fury at the blatant accusation, remarking on Tiny's audacious nerve. Roaring, "How dare you!" Commander I Am unleashes a powerful, fiery punch, lunging forward with explosive force towards Tiny. With surprising speed, Tiny coolly intercepts Commander IM's fiery strike, blocking it with his forearm as a spray of blood erupts from the impact. Tiny's gaze sharpens, his body crackling with nascent blue lightning as he prepares a counterattack, radiating immense power. Commander IM recoils in surprise as Tiny's leg, enveloped in crackling blue electricity, lashes out with incredible speed. The powerful kick sends Commander IM hurtling backward and up the stairs, a cloud of dust and debris erupting from the sheer force of the impact. Tiny firmly grips the struggling Commander IM by his armored collar, asserting his dominance in the close quarters exchange. A confident smirk plays on Tiny's lips as he declares that merely showcasing his power should be sufficient for the moment. Beads of sweat form on Commander IM's brow as he grudgingly admits that Tiny, despite his youthful appearance, possesses considerable skill. Tiny follows up with another swift, powerful kick, sending a jarring impact through Commander IM's armor. As Tiny gracefully retreats further up the stairs, he internally observes that Commander IM's supporting night troops are too numerous to handle directly. Tiny decides his best course of action is to force Commander IM to retreat on his own terms, rather than engage the full force of his command. Commander IM retaliates, his hand glowing with blue energy as he challenges Tiny to withstand his next attack. Tiny's smirk remains as he deftly evades Commander IM's attack, a blur of motion leaving streaks of blue energy. Commander IM lets out a startled HM as Tiny summons a colossal, ethereal blue wolf spirit, its glowing form looming menacingly behind him on the stairs. Summoned blue wolf spirit's face fills the frame, its luminous eyes burning with raw, untamed power. Commander IM's expression shifts to one of profound shock and apprehension, beads of sweat forming as he registers the immense spiritual presence. Tiny observes Commander IM's stunned reaction, musing internally that the knight has likely never encountered such a powerful spirit in a place of this scale. With a knowing smirk, he then tells Commander IM that he will explain, now that the commander seems to have calmed down. Tiny presses Commander IM, asking him to be honest and admitting that the entire situation likely boils down to money for the night. Commander IM, still wary, demands to know Tiny's true point. The imposing blue wolf spirit looming behind him, Tiny makes a bold proposition to Commander IM. He offers to pay the knight directly, rather than having him deal with the wolf. Commander IM's expression shifts to one of bewildered amusement, remarking that such a sophisticated proposal shouldn't come from a mere child. He then questions Tiny's true age and whether he used magic to appear so young. Tiny dismisses the idea of magic, explaining with a grin that he is simply a native of this land and quite renowned in Invader for his distinctive black hair. Commander IM, now in a more relaxed but still cautious stance, accepts Tiny's explanation, then shrewdly asks if Tiny can match the 5 white gold coins he used to receive from the wolf. Commander IM's patience wears thin, his face hardening as he demands if Tiny is joking, questioning how far he intends to push this negotiation. Tiny, maintaining his composed demeanor, counters Commander IM's demand, claiming he knows the knight only received 1 coin previously and offers a slightly higher sum of 1.5 coins. Commander IM explodes in a fit of rage, calling Tiny a bastard, while Tiny calmly continues his negotiation, stating, "If you don't want that..." Tiny, unfazed by the earlier outburst, stands resolute, a colossal blue wolf spirit manifesting behind him, its ethereal form radiating raw power. He calmly insists they finish their business right here, right now. The armored Commander IM clenches his fist, his back to Tiny, a single word escaping his gritted teeth. "Damn it!" Commander IM finally turns, scoffing at Tiny, declaring, "A kid saying things like that? The world must be ending," as Tiny and his spectral wolf loom from the staircase. Tiny's gaze remains unwavering as he presses Commander IM for a definitive response, asking, "So, what's your answer?" Commander IM, still refusing to fully face Tiny, reiterates the terms, reminding him, "The last day of the month is the due date. Keep your promise." As Commander IM stands firm, his subordinates frantically call out to him, "Sir IM," and Lord Knight, clearly worried by the escalating tension. Commander IM violently silences his subordinate, delivering a harsh strike across the man's face, a clear warning against further interference. Commander IM's expression hardens, his eyes cold as he reveals a small, glowing golden coin or token clutched in his armored hand. Tiny, a faint smirk playing on his lips, reminds Commander IM, since the owner of this place has changed, the new owner should at least greet the estate lord. He then casually asks, "Can you get us a schedule?" Commander IM's face contorts in anger, yet he grudgingly concedes, stating, "I will report this to him." Tiny flashes a chilling, wide grin, his words carrying an implicit threat, "If there will be any next due date." As the three terrified subordinates attempt to flee, Tiny's spectral wolf watches from above, and Tiny's voice rings out, demanding, "Hey, where do you think you are going?" The subordinates freeze in terror as Tiny's chilling demands echo. "I will give you an hour. All of you, including the women who work in the invader and the children who beg, get them all here. If you are late, I will kill one person every minute." Tiny's face darkens, his eyes gleaming with a cold resolve, perfectly mirroring the menacing glow in the eyes of his colossal blue wolf spirit. Subordinates scramble away in abject terror, one letting out a desperate cry as Tiny's final, chilling reminder echoes, "Don't forget, you only have 1 hour." Tiny examines the glowing coin, a sinister plan forming in his mind. He muses, "If this goes according to my plan, it won't take even a week to take care of this place." Then he adds, "I'm looking forward to this, Duke Valencia." Panting and exhausted, the subordinates return, having rounded up a crowd of people. One gasps, "We brought all of them," as Tiny observes calmly from the stairs. A large, terrified crowd stands before Tiny, including women and children. From within the group, a red-haired woman cries out, "Tiny!" The red-haired woman gently takes Tiny's bloody hand, her face etched with concern as she asks, "What happened to your hand? Did someone beat you again?" In the foreground, a bloodied, unconscious man lies sprawled on the floor, drawing shocked gazes from the assembled crowd, while Tiny and the red-haired woman look on. The red-haired woman stares down at the fallen man, a look of disbelief on her face as she whispers, "This is really the wolf?" Tiny observes the frightened crowd from the stairs, noting internally, "They are all scared. Everyone living in the invader knows the estate lord is behind the wolf." The terrified crowd whispers amongst themselves, fearing, "What if he punishes us for trying to challenge his nobility?" with another agreeing, "Yeah, right." Tiny offers a confident smirk, holding a substantial book, his eyes gleaming with a mischievous plan. Outside the building, two guards discuss a missing colleague, one observing, "I don't see Sir Ram around these days," and wondering, "Is he on vacation?" The other guard reveals, "Didn't you hear that he is under probation for that incident in Invader?" The first guard reacts with surprise, asking, "What? Did he do something?" The first guard is reminded of the fight that broke out between the local thugs, to which the second guard recalls, "Oh, you mean when they all started hallucinating simultaneously?" The narration describes the terrifying incident, where, no matter whom we asked, all of them reported the same, that a giant monster wolf would come after them, as a monstrous blue wolf spirit looms over screaming figures. Guard confirms, "Yeah, I remember that incident," recalling how their leader was so messed up that he couldn't even be recognized, as the image shows the brutalized figure. Commander Iam covers his face in exasperation near an open, empty safe, as the guard concludes, and all of his money just vanished somewhere, implying Tiny's successful theft. A confused guard, still reeling from the news of the vanished fortune, questions how any of this could possibly relate to Sir Ram. Continues, explaining that during negotiations with the new boss, a major issue arose. The entire town has been impacted, with all shops and stores now closed, leading to numerous complaints from visiting merchants. The guard elaborates, stating that since no one is making any money, it's understandable that the estate lord is furious. Unbeknownst to the guards, Tiny stands nearby, arms crossed, silently absorbing every word of their conversation. Tiny's mind races, trying to recall a crucial detail, muttering to himself, what was that guy's name?" As Tiny sits on the stairs, holding a red account book, he overhears whispers about the fate of the estate lord of Files, who has dared to make a fool out of Duke Valencia. A red-haired woman approaches Tiny, questioning his cryptic words. "What are you talking about?" Tiny reflects on his past life, admitting he once believed all nobility was the same, which caused him to overlook vital details in the account book he now holds. In a flashback, Tiny, clad in armor, is seen handing over half of Wolf's fortune and the account book to another man, a transaction that only gained him a few acquaintances in Invader. Back in the present, Tiny clutches the book, his face contorted in a mix of shock and frustration as the full weight of his past oversight crashes down on him. His realization manifests as a stark visual, an imposing figure representing higher nobility towering over a lesser one, illustrating the brutal hierarchy he had failed to comprehend. Tiny's eyes harden with determination as he declares, "With this, the estate lord is finished." Tiny reassures Emma that she doesn't need to understand everything right now, as it's not the most important thing, leaving her confused and asking, "What are you saying?" From his perch, Tiny announces to the assembled group that no one in Invader needs to worry about Wolf anymore, declaring them all free. Emma's face reflects a mixture of disbelief and hope, her voice trembling as she repeats, "We are free, for real?" Tiny points, offering them a final chance. "If you want to take your revenge or to vent, this is your last chance." Focus shifts to a bloodied, restrained figure, the object of their long-awaited vengeance, as a voice, filled with pent-up rage, utters, "Wolf, you!" Emma unleashes her fury, delivering a powerful kick to the prone wolf, the impact shaking the very air around them. Tiny watches the chaotic scene with a calm, almost detached expression as the other women observe the unfolding retribution. Tiny reflects on his own nature, admitting, "I have no talent for consolation." He continues his internal monologue, observing others carrying a heavy object in the background, reasoning that consolation isn't his way of repaying a debt, nor would it be enough to heal all their wounds. Tiny gestures towards the now open safe, overflowing with treasure, inviting them, "Take back as much as you want." The massive safe bursts open, revealing a dazzling hoard of gold coins and precious chests, sparkling with untold riches. Tiny explains that the treasure belonged to Wolf, instructing the women and children forced to stay an invader to take the money and leave, leaving Emma and another woman stunned, asking, "Are you giving us all this money?" Tiny stands calmly by the open safe, observing the women's awestruck and murmuring reactions to the unexpected bounty. Emma, still concerned, asks Tiny about his own plans, to which he replies, "I'm good. I've already got the money I needed." Emma looks at Tiny with a worried expression, insisting, "You don't understand it because you're young, but there is nobody in this world who doesn't need money, Tiny." Tiny's expression becomes more serious, and he challenges her, "Where do you think this money came from?" As the crowd marvels at the vast treasure, Tiny's voice echoes, "Even if you send the wicked ones to hell, the money remains here on earth." The women listen intently, their expressions a mix of awe and anticipation as Tiny prepares to reveal a deeper truth, saying, "Let me tell you something." Tiny's gaze hardens as he lays down the law, warning them of severe consequences if they commit wrongdoings for money or leak a single word to the estate lord. The women watch, stunned, as Tiny's formidable blue wolf spirit manifests behind him, its ethereal form radiating raw power. With a serious expression, Tiny advises Emma to go to Diane if she leaves the estate of Files, emphasizing the importance of always moving as a group and hiring mercenaries from a reputed guild. Emma's eyes widen in disbelief as she asks Tiny if they are truly leaving by themselves and what he plans to do. Tiny confidently states that if they are strong enough, they will be able to take care of themselves, to which Emma, standing beside the imposing blue wolf spirit, replies that they will follow his instructions. A warm smile spreads across Tiny's face as he sincerely thanks Emma for everything. Under the pale glow of the full moon, a decisive announcement rings out. From this day onwards, the red light district of Files, known as Invader, is officially closed. The narration reveals the identity of the new boss, stating his name was Tiny as he stands confidently before the guards. The guards stare at Tiny in disbelief, one questioning if he is just a child, while the other demands to know when he arrived. One guard sternly tells Tiny that this is the residence of the Lord and his lieges, and a commoner shouldn't be lurking around. The other guard then expresses confusion, wondering how Tiny knew the name of the new boss. The guard's faces contort in terror as the ferocious blue wolf spirit appears, its glowing eyes and bared fangs a clear warning. With a subtle tremor, the powerful blue wolf spirit stands guard beside Tiny, its presence a silent, undeniable threat. Tiny sighs internally, his expression conveying utter boredom and annoyance at the constant trouble caused by his youthful appearance. Tiny laments the constant challenges he faces because of his child's body, as he stands before an older brown-haired official and a stern man in a green uniform. The man in the green uniform is revealed as Kron, the Grandmaster of Files' Night Order. The older brown-haired official, looking flustered, sarcastically questions Kron's manners, pointing out that it's rude to make a guest stand while being observed. Kron's face twists in anger as he sharply tells Tiny that, above all else, he needs to understand his place. Tiny retorts, telling Kron he'll say the same thing to him. Kron glares back, warning Tiny not to act as if he is superior to the estate lord, prompting Tiny to question his words. Tiny's eyes narrow with intensity as he asserts his status as a guest of the estate lord, then challenges Kron, asking if he's gone mad for trying to point his sword at him despite knowing his position. Kron sneers, looking down at Tiny and remarking that, as expected of someone who lived in the trash, his tongue surely stinks. Tiny calmly retorts that he disagrees, suggesting the stink is actually coming from Kron, as Kron's hand hovers over his sword hilt. Kron's face contorts in a furious snarl as he rapidly draws his sword, the blade glinting ominously. As Kron prepares to strike Tiny, the older brown-haired official frantically cries out to stop him, just as a voice from off-panel announces that the Lord has been waiting. Tiny's expression remains utterly calm, his eyes closed as if unfazed by the escalating tension. Kron, acknowledging the interruption, reluctantly sheathes his sword with a sharp metallic clang, muttering a curt apology. Kron turns back to Tiny, warning him to watch himself inside, as the Lord is a strict person. Tiny dismissively responds, yeah, of course. Kron's eyes burn with cold fury as he silently vows to kill Tiny the moment he receives permission. An attendant's voice echoes, announcing the arrival of Sir Tiny of the back alleys. Kron and Tiny step into a lavish hall, where a red-haired official sits casually as an off-panel voice attempts to continue an introduction. Tiny's eyes widen in stark surprise, his face betraying a sudden realization or shock. Still kneeling, Tiny is met with a sarcastic welcome from the ruler of files, who immediately challenges his lack of etiquette. Tiny responds respectfully, claiming to have practiced standing in the Lord's presence, despite his current submissive posture. The red-haired official, Baron Timon Vol Files, sits back with a confident smirk, observing Tiny's deference. Elsewhere, a corpulent man relaxes, exhaling smoke from a pipe, his eyes half-closed in a moment of indulgence. Tiny's thoughts drift to a critical account book currently headed towards the Duke of Valencia. Baron Timon Vol Files, with a wide, triumphant grin, declares his intent to finally have his proper revenge. Now standing, Tiny is questioned by the red-haired official, who emphasizes the difference in attitude between master and servant. With a confident smile, Tiny boldly reveals his ambition to become one of the red-haired official's servants. The older brown-haired official gasps in utter shock at Tiny's audacity, while the red-haired official smirks, recognizing Tiny's grand ambition to compete with the Order's Grandmaster. Both the older brown-haired official and the red-haired official stare in open surprise, processing Tiny's audacious declaration. The red-haired official's smirk returns as he dismisses Tiny's ambitions, stating that his presence before them is what truly matters. His expression hardening, the red-haired official accuses Tiny of robbing him, a stark contradiction to Tiny's earlier claim of servitude. The red-haired official's face contorts in pure, unbridled rage, his eyes burning with a furious red glow. Tiny maintains an innocent smile, audaciously claiming his actions were for the red-haired official's own good, which only fuels his host's fury. The tension in the opulent room escalates, with Tiny standing calmly between the two officials as the atmosphere crackles with unspoken threats. The older brown-haired official, visibly agitated, begins to draw his sword, ready to intervene in the escalating confrontation. Tiny's eyes widen in surprise, observing the older brown-haired official's sudden aggressive move. The older brown-haired official, now sweating, utters a bewildered what, his previous aggression replaced by confusion. Tiny continues his explanation, reminding the red-haired official of Lady Valencia's recent visit to his territory. The chilling grin, Tiny reveals he acquired his information from Lady Valencia's company, claiming he merely sought to prevent future complications. Tiny further divulges intelligence, detailing a significant plan being orchestrated during the coming-of-age ceremony of the Duke's youngest daughter. The older brown-haired official angrily dismisses Tiny's claims as mere childish fantasies, refusing to believe the accusations. The red-haired official silences Kron, the older brown-haired official, with a furious glare, warning him not to overstep his bounds. Kron bows subserviently in apology as the red-haired official acknowledges Tiny's information, deeming it commendable despite the unconventional methods. Tiny begins to express gratitude, but the red-haired official cuts him off, stating there's one final matter he needs to confirm. Red-haired official observes Tiny with a calm, discerning gaze, revealing his awareness of Tiny's control over a wolf spirit. His eyes glow ominously as the red-haired official presses Tiny, questioning if the wolf spirit was stolen from a wolf's spirit stone. Behind Tiny, the ethereal blue form of a wolf spirit manifests, its presence confirming the red-haired official's suspicions as Tiny looks on in surprise. Tiny's eyes glow with an intense blue light, mirroring the raw power of the wolf spirit now undeniably linked to him. As Tiny's power surges, a primal, purple heart of energy manifests, pulsating with dark, arcane might, yet interwoven with the same blue light now coursing through him. Unaware of the shift in power, the red-haired official sits enthroned amidst an unsettling purple aura, a sinister smile playing on his lips, confident in his own dark influence. True cost of such power is laid bare as the hooded figure stands triumphant over a gruesome pile of sacrifices, a testament to the dark magic that demands countless lives. Devils never lend their strength without sacrifices, and this second-circle magician is certainly a lunatic who has killed hundreds or made dozens of living people a sacrifice. In a grim corner, one man dismisses the value of a corpse, asking his companion why he would bother. The other, with a chilling grin, explains that some sick individuals enjoy dead bodies and that fresh organs can fetch a significant profit. Their faces contort into identical, predatory grins, revealing the true darkness behind their words and the depths of their depraved intentions. Tiny's gaze sharpens as a grim realization dawns. The man purchasing corpses from the invader is none other than the red-haired official. In the opulent chamber, the red-haired official, still seated, demands an answer from Tiny, questioning his silence with an impatient tone. The mustached knight stands ready, his hand on his sword, observing the tense exchange. Tiny, his expression a mix of confusion and slight apprehension, responds that he does not understand the red-haired official's question, buying himself time. With a furious scowl, the mustached knight draws his sword, its blade glinting ominously, his patience clearly exhausted by Tiny's evasiveness. The red-haired official watches from his seat, a smirk playing on his lips. Tiny, sensing the imminent threat, swiftly crouches, his body crackling with a vibrant blue energy as the wolf spirit's power surges, ready to unleash its force. A flash, the magnificent, ethereal blue wolf spirit materializes behind Tiny, its jaws wide in a silent roar of primal power, directly threatening the mustached knight, who stands frozen with his sword drawn. The mustached knight's face contorts in pure terror, his eyes wide with shock at the spectral wolf's sudden appearance, while the red-haired official, equally stunned, leans forward from his seat, his smug demeanor momentarily shattered. The red-haired official's face, now bathed in a crimson glow of fear, twists into a mask of pure horror, his composure utterly broken by the overwhelming display of Tiny's power. His eye, wide and bloodshot, reflects a profound terror, a silent testament to the sheer, unexpected force Tiny has unleashed. Tiny, however, remains resolute, a bead of sweat trickling down his temple, his gaze unwavering as he maintains control over the formidable wolf spirit. Both the mustached knight and the red-haired official stare in disbelief, their previous arrogance replaced by utter astonishment at Tiny's hidden strength. Mustached knight, lowering his gaze in grudging respect, concedes that Tiny must be a genius, acknowledging the extraordinary power he just witnessed. The mustached knight observes Tiny with renewed awe, noting that not a single string of his mana is leaking, a testament to his incredible control. Tiny, with a confident stance, declares that he has learned this formidable power from his family's secret legacy, hinting at a deeper lineage and hidden potential. Tiny's eye gleams with an unwavering intensity, a silent promise of the power he wields and the secrets he guards. The tense standoff persists in the grand chamber as Tiny, backed by the formidable blue wolf spirit, stands firm against the mustached knight, while the red-haired official watches, his earlier shock slowly giving way to calculation. Placing a hand over his chest, Tiny explains that this incredible ability is a breathing technique he has mastered since infancy, implying a deep-seated, innate talent rather than mere magic. The red-haired official's eyes narrow in contemplation, a thoughtful escaping his lips as he processes Tiny's words, weighing the implications of such a claim. A fleeting image of Tiny's past flashes by, showing him with a wide, innocent grin amidst a bustling crowd, a stark contrast to the dangerous political machinations he now faces. Tiny, radiating confidence with the wolf spirit towering behind him, challenges the red-haired official, stating that his very presence before him is undeniable proof of his words. The red-haired official, after a moment of consideration, acknowledges Tiny's assertion, declaring that he will take his word, though a hint of suspicion still lingers in his eyes. Sinister, almost predatory grin spreads across the red-haired official's face, his eyes glowing faintly purple as he reveals his intention to have he ascertain Tiny's details, hinting at a deeper, more dangerous investigation. Tiny's eyes widen slightly in surprise, a single word escaping his lips, he, questioning the identity of this unseen individual. With a dismissive wave, the red-haired official instructs Tiny to remain there for a while, a clear command that he is not yet free to leave. Tiny, still guarded, asks if the red-haired official is referring to him. The red-haired official, with a cunning glint in his eye, explains that since Tiny killed Wolf, things have gone south, and he needs someone to blame, clearly setting Tiny up as a convenient scapegoat for his own troubles. Tiny's expression tightens, his eyes wide with a mix of shock and dawning comprehension at the official's manipulative words. A chilling premonition flashes through Tiny's mind, a grim reminder of a past encounter where a sinister hooded figure had him at their mercy, bloodied and broken amidst crackling dark energy. The red-haired official's voice cuts through Tiny's thoughts, remarking sharply that Tiny has fallen silent once more. The red-haired official, a smirk playing on his lips, reminds Tiny of his earlier desire to serve him, suggesting that this new arrangement couldn't be a bad offer for Tiny either. With a visible drop of sweat, Tiny reluctantly responds, stating that he will oblige if it is the red-haired official's command. The red-haired official's face twists into a self-satisfied smirk, clearly pleased with Tiny's forced compliance. Internally, Tiny remains defiant, his thoughts revealing a hidden strategy. He still has a card to play. Tiny's mind races, calculating the crucial timeline. 3 days for the Duke's men to verify the account book's authenticity, followed by another 3 days to assemble the punitive army. The estimation continues, an additional 10 days for the army to march and reach files, totaling a little over 15 days for the entire process. Tiny's eye narrows with fierce determination, his plan crystallizing. If the estate lord's guest arrives after these 15 days, everything will work out exactly as he intends. Tiny, feigning innocence, asks about the guest's arrival, which immediately draws a suspicious and annoyed "Why are you asking that?" from the red-haired official. Tiny offers a seemingly polite excuse, explaining that he needs to know the arrival time to learn the appropriate manners for their esteemed guest. Red-haired official, initially surprised, then feigns understanding, revealing that the guest will arrive in a week, warning Tiny not to disappoint him. Tiny's face tightens, gritting his teeth in frustration as a bead of sweat rolls down his temple, realizing the guest's arrival is far sooner than anticipated. His hands clench into tight fists, a clear sign of his mounting internal struggle and determination. Tiny stretches his arm, his expression thoughtful as he processes the new, compressed timeline for his plans. Tiny considers his first option, to flee. He mentally notes that the invaders' people should have already escaped, and if he wishes to get away, he needs to act. A stark image flashes through his mind, an older brown-haired official holding up a wanted poster bearing Tiny's face, a clear warning of the repercussions if he were to simply run. As Tiny stretches, he considers the implications. He must receive something from the red-haired official, meaning he needs to avoid anything that could cause problems in the future. Furthermore, his fist shoots forward, a sharp, decisive strike, mirroring his hardening resolve. A drop of sweat rolls down his face as Tiny admits his own irritation. The very thought of running away somehow irks him. He launches into a series of swift, powerful punches, each strike echoing his renewed determination. Tiny's gaze hardens, his fist raised as he considers his second option, the mysterious guest who is set to arrive in just 1 week. Tiny's brow furrows in suspicion, his internal monologue questioning whether this is truly an official visit from the guest. Tiny recalls the red-haired official's casual announcement that he will pay them a visit, a memory that now holds new, unsettling implications. Tiny deduces the truth. This is no official visit, but a shady private meeting. The estate lord's true backer, a figure who cannot show their face in public, is undoubtedly the hooded figure lurking in the shadows. Tiny's eyes gleam with a new idea, his fist clenching as he ponders. What if some massive, unforeseen event were to suddenly erupt in files? He continues his thought, imagining an event so significant it would inevitably focus all attention squarely on this place. Such a spectacle, Tiny concludes, would present a significant chance that the hooded figure's visit would be either postponed or entirely cancelled. Tiny executes a powerful high kick, his expression resolute as he realizes that for this intricate plan to truly work, he needs to prepare. Tiny, still in his training stance, internalizes his resolve. He needs to become strong enough so that his eyes burn with fierce determination as he vows to defeat both the Grandmaster and the Lord. After his intense training, Tiny concludes it's time to eat, stepping away from the training area. A bucket of water is dramatically poured over Tiny's head, splashing around him. In the bustling kitchen, a shocked chef watches as Tiny, holding an empty bowl, stands before him. The sheer volume of empty bowls stacked high around them leaves the chef utterly stunned by Tiny's appetite. As Tiny drinks, he realizes his mana body, having overcome its dissonance, improves with every meal. The more he eats, the stronger he becomes. Surrounded by a mountain of empty dishes, Tiny, holding a gnawed bone, confidently concludes that he doesn't need special medicine or herbs. The satisfied expression, Tiny gnaws on a large bone, his unique method of power leveling in full effect. Suddenly, a towering mustached knight confronts Tiny, questioning if he's the homeless kid who has learned manners from a dog. The mustached knight glares, sternly commanding Tiny to show respect when addressing an adult. Tiny, unflinching, retorts by asking why he should respect someone picking a fight with a child, leaving the mustached knight stunned. The mustached knight clenches his fist, warning Tiny that he's unsure whether Tiny is trying to be funny or provoke a fight. The mustached knight's face contorts in a mask of pure rage, his teeth gritted and eyes burning. Enraged, the mustached knight lunges forward with explosive force, ready to strike. Just as the tension peaks, the mustached knight suddenly calms, looking surprised as he tells himself to relax. The mustached knight looks up, his gaze meeting the calm expression of the tall blonde ally standing beside him. Tiny watches the unfolding situation with a subtle, knowing smirk. Mustached knight, still seething, glares intensely at Tiny while the tall blonde ally observes from the background. Tiny, seated casually, gestures to himself and challenges the mustached knight, reminding him that he wanted to know his strength. The mustached knight narrows his eyes, warning Tiny not to be all talk and no action. Tiny's gaze sharpens as he silently promises the Grandmaster to just wait and watch. Tiny stands tall, his expression serious as he firmly states no. Tiny stands resolute, seemingly unfazed by the looming, shadowy presence of the Grandmaster behind him as the mustached knight watches. In an open courtyard, Tiny stands alone, facing off against the imposing mustached knight, surrounded by a crowd of curious onlookers. The mustached knight clenches his armored fists, a confident smirk spreading across his face as he dares Tiny to come at me. Tiny calmly asks if the mustached knight is sure he won't regret this, to which the knight responds with a scoffing laugh of disbelief. Mustached knight points down, ordering Tiny to pick up his sword, promising to make the fight swift. Tiny responds with a dismissive, almost bored expression, scratching his neck as if completely unimpressed by the knight's challenge. Unimpressed by the challenge, Tiny effortlessly evades the mustached knight's aggressive kick, the impact merely disturbing the air where he once stood. Mustached knight's face contorts in surprise, a bead of sweat forming as his attack fails to connect, leaving him vulnerable. With a guttural growl, the mustached knight clenches his jaw, his eyes blazing with renewed determination as he refuses to yield. He launches a powerful, mana-infused punch, a surge of blue energy trailing his arm as Tiny ducks beneath the blow with practiced ease. Tiny's eyes sharpen, a faint blue aura beginning to emanate from his own fist, signaling his intent to counterattack. He delivers a swift, precise blow to the mustached knight's armored leg, a burst of blue energy marking the point of impact. The mustached knight's leg glows with an angry red, the force of Tiny's strike visibly cracking his heavy armor. Staggering backward, the mustached knight struggles against the pain, crimson energy flaring around his wounded limb. Despite the damage, the mustached knight's resolve remains unbroken, his thoughts a defiant roar. "I can't lose like this." Tiny observes the knight's resilience, a hint of surprise in his own thoughts. He's pretty resilient. Mustached knight unleashes a furious, red-tinged aura, his eyes wide with rage as he prepares a desperate counterattack against Tiny. As the mustached knight lunges forward, Tiny executes a swift, acrobatic dodge, narrowly avoiding the massive armored fist. Tiny slides across the ground with incredible agility, leaving a blurred trail as he repositions himself for another strike. Mustached knight's eyes widen in disbelief, struggling to comprehend Tiny's blinding speed and evasive maneuvers. Tiny launches himself high into the air, soaring above the mustached knight, preparing to strike from an unexpected angle. Landing squarely on the mustached knight's back, Tiny secures a hold, catching the armored warrior completely off guard. With a mischievous grin, Tiny chokes the mustached knight from behind, a blue energy pulse radiating from his grip as he reassures him, "Don't worry, I won't kill you." The mustached knight lies defeated on the ground, Tiny dusting his hands off, while a crowd of onlookers stares in utter astonishment. The faces of the onlookers are a mixture of shock and disbelief, struggling to process the swift and decisive defeat. As Tiny turns his back to the stunned crowd, one onlooker voices their astonishment. "Sire Grant lost to a little kid?" Tiny's gaze holds a strategic glint, contrasting with the intense, scrutinizing eyes of another observer, hinting at deeper implications. Tiny's thoughts reveal his calculated move. "I intentionally defeated a knight in front of many people without the help of Lunar Wolf." An onlooker carries the dazed mustached knight away, while Tiny stands in the background, arms crossed, observing the aftermath of his public display. Satisfied smirk plays on Tiny's lips as he internally confirms, "Good. With this, the probability of success." Suddenly, Tiny pitches backward, his eyes wide with alarm, as if struck by an unforeseen wave of exhaustion or a critical system warning. He stumbles, blue energy flickering around him as he struggles to maintain his footing, clearly feeling the toll of his recent exertion. Tiny, sweating profusely, looks up with a worried expression, realizing in his thoughts, did I overdo it?" A desaturated memory flashes, showing Tiny's earlier chokehold on the mustached knight, emphasizing the mana expenditure. Now hunched over, Tiny is visibly exhausted, the residual blue energy barely clinging to his form as his power drains. Two forms of Tiny stand back-to-back, revealing a critical weakness. "The mana body in my previous life had a disadvantage. My physical recovery was quick, but the mana recovery was slow." Tiny reflects on his past life's mana body, which suffered from slow mana recovery. Now, with his completely integrated mana body in this current life, he declares that he has overcome that critical disadvantage. A confident smile spreads across Tiny's face as blue mana swirls around him, an outward manifestation of his enhanced capabilities in this new existence. With fierce determination in his eyes and a clenched fist, Tiny vows to become far stronger than he ever was in his previous life. The scene shifts to a grand, ornate hallway where an older brown-haired official carries a bottle while two maids meticulously prepare to serve a meal. In a lavish dining room, the red-haired official admits to Tiny that he might have misunderstood him, prompting Tiny to express gratitude for the official's trust and for personally verifying the situation. Tiny sits at the intricately carved dining table, observing the plate of food placed before him by a maid, his expression a mix of curiosity and slight surprise. The red-haired official, holding a pipe, informs Tiny with a subtle smirk that the steak served is made of veal. Tiny, a wide smile on his face, remarks to the red-haired official that the breakfast seems quite extravagant. The red-haired official, looking amused, expresses his surprise, having assumed Tiny's destructive power against the knight was fueled by an equally destructive appetite. Tiny, holding his cutlery, humbly clarifies that the previous day's events only occurred because the knight had carelessly lowered his guard. A knowing smile and a nod, the red-haired official dismisses Tiny's modesty, stating his immense anticipation for Tiny's future. The red-haired official's eyes narrow thoughtfully as he acknowledges that many historical knights achieved greatness without a formal teacher. Tiny attentively cuts his steak as the red-haired official continues, emphasizing that ultimately it was the guidance of a great master that truly allowed them to outshine others. The red-haired official, with a cunning smirk, deduces Tiny's noble background from his historical knowledge and impeccable table manners, concluding that he is certainly not a commoner. Tiny continues his meal as the red-haired official further observes that black hair and eyes are an uncommon trait among nobles in their empire and surrounding kingdoms. A close-up on the red-haired official's face reveals a subtle, almost calculating smile, hinting at his deeper, unspoken thoughts. Tiny pauses mid-bite, looking up with a confused expression as he questions, "That place?" From a low angle, the red-haired official looks down at Tiny, requesting clarification with a pardon. Tiny's internal thoughts betray his annoyance and confusion as he wonders what nonsense the red-haired official is spouting. The red-haired official explains that they contacted someone yesterday who was elated, while Tiny internally suspects the official is a drug addict despite having no other information. The red-haired official holds a pulsating purple orb, a sinister smirk on his face as dark, ominous energy swirls around him. Man identified as Drexler screams in sheer terror as a colossal, shadowy hand, emanating a void-like energy, reaches for him, illustrating the moment he lost his mana circle. The red-haired official takes a sip from his cup, an ominous smile playing on his lips as he tells Tiny to eagerly anticipate meeting this individual. The red-haired official promises Tiny an important post, describing the benefactor as an incredible, unimaginable person who will grant him a significant position. Tiny bows his head slightly, placing a hand on his chest, expressing respectful gratitude for this precious opportunity. Tiny executes a powerful, rapid punch, his arm blurring with incredible speed and force, showcasing his physical prowess. A sturdy wooden training dummy stands under a bright blue sky, already showing visible signs of recent, forceful impacts. From an overhead perspective, Tiny relentlessly assaults the training dummy with a flurry of rapid punches, sending wood splinters flying with each devastating strike. The narrator details the power levels. The Estate Lord is a second circle magician, while Kron is a peak second-order fighter. Kron is slightly stronger, but their overall levels are similar, as magicians and mana-using fighters operate at comparable stages. Tiny, in a determined stance performing push-ups, confidently asserts that he was far beyond stage 2 in his past life and will quickly ascend to higher levels in no time. Tiny, gritting his teeth, pushes through an intense training regimen, sweat beading on his brow as he channels his past life's determination to reclaim his former strength. 3 days later, the world continues its quiet rotation, marked by the passage of time. Tiny, now radiating a vibrant blue aura, stands confidently amidst training dummies, declaring that despite his small stature, he has grown significantly stronger. He unleashes a powerful punch, surrounded by a surging blue energy, noting internally that his movements have become far superior to those of his past self. With a thoughtful expression, Tiny realizes that revisiting the basics has granted him a deeper understanding of his abilities. Tiny reflects on his past mistake, where he built his body excessively large, disrupting the vital harmony between his mana and physical form. Confident smile spreads across Tiny's face as he resolves not to make his body so disproportionately large again. Tiny's eye widens in a sudden gasp, indicating a new realization or a surprising turn of events. Two armored knights stare in disbelief at Tiny, one exclaiming about the monstrous little kid who had previously destroyed Sir Grant's ankle. Knights, visibly unnerved by Tiny's presence, nervously suggest they should return another time as they quickly retreat. Tiny watches them go, a smug and confident smirk playing on his lips. He takes a large bite of bread, musing to himself that for the past 3 days he has done nothing but eat and train relentlessly. As Tiny continues his training, he observes that the villagers, having witnessed his routine for 3 days, have lost their initial curiosity. Tiny, with his back to the viewer, contemplates his next move, wondering what he should get to now that his initial training phase is complete. The mustached knight, with a stern expression, confronts Tiny, stating that he knew Tiny would be there. Tiny looks up at the mustached knight with a curious expression, asking if something is the matter, addressing him as Grandmaster. The mustached knight turns and instructs Tiny to follow him, mentioning that the estate leader is interested in him. Tiny smiles, thinking to himself that the timing for this summons is perfect. As they pass other guards, the mustached knight reiterates that the estate leader holds Tiny in high regard. The mustached knight sternly advises Tiny to be grateful for the attention he is receiving. Tiny glances around his surroundings, observing the new environment they are moving through. He eyes various armors on display, noting their expensive appearance but lamenting that none of them would fit his current small frame. His gaze then shifts to a collection of weapons, continuing his internal assessment of the available gear. With a sigh of resignation, Tiny internally declares that he gives up on finding suitable equipment for earning extra income at the moment. Mustached Knight responds to Tiny's question with a broad, knowing smile, holding his staff. A close-up reveals the mustached knight's genuine, friendly smile, hinting at a positive response or an intriguing proposition. Meanwhile, a somber scene unfolds elsewhere, showing a hooded figure, a woman, a child, and another person lying dejectedly on the ground, enveloped in an atmosphere of despair. Tiny, deep in thought, considers the immense effort and sacrifice poured into forging the sword before him, then challenges, if you put it that way. He boldly declares to the mustached knight that the sword suits him even more, drawing an immediate shocked what from the armored warrior. A confident smirk spreads across Tiny's face as he asserts that good weapons are meant to be wielded by the skilled. The mustached knight's face contorts in pure, unbridled rage, his eyes burning as he curses Tiny, yelling, "You bastard!" The mustached knight's furious roar echoes, questioning if Tiny has a death wish, startling the nearby guards. Undeterred, Tiny challenges the mustached knight, proposing an immediate competition if he is so displeased with his words. A hand clenches tightly around the sword's hilt, a silent, tense response to Tiny's audacious challenge. Tiny's eyes glow ominously red as he holds the sword, a chilling smile on his face, beginning to lay out the high stakes of his challenge. If I lose... The mustached knight's eyes widen, reflecting a mix of disbelief and growing fury at Tiny's unsettling demeanor. The mustached knight erupts in a furious scream, towering over Tiny and roaring, "You bastard!" 2 guards stand watch by a door, looking down at Tiny as he is sent away after the tense confrontation. The guards bow apologetically to the unseen Grandmaster, with one promising, "Sorry, Grandmaster, I will be careful from now on." Tiny's eye is partially visible, cast downwards, hinting at frustration or sadness beneath his disheveled hair. One of the guards looks on with a surprised and concerned expression, perhaps pondering the recent events. Tiny, visibly upset and clutching the wrapped sword, walks past the 2 guards, who look on with alarm. As Tiny walks away, one guard whispers, wondering if Sir Kron's actions are responsible for the boy's current state. Another guard leans in, asking about the rumors, to which the first guard replies, confirming the whispers that the Grandmaster dislikes Tiny. The onlookers agree that the Grandmaster's actions were excessive, especially considering Tiny is just a child, concluding that the Grandmaster must be truly furious. Tiny continues his walk, passing 2 female attendants who exclaim in shock at his appearance, one gasping, "What the?" One of the female attendants rushes to Tiny's side, gasping in concern and asking, "Oh my, Master Tiny, how did you receive such injuries?" Tiny explains that the Grandmaster had something for him, and then something happened between them, prompting a gasp of understanding from the attendant. The extent of Tiny's injuries is clear, a bruise around his eye, as the 2 female attendants look on with deep distress. Meanwhile, in a lavish room, the white-haired official carefully pours wine for the seated red-haired official, a sense of quiet formality in the air. The red-haired official, holding his goblet, inquires about the status of the sacrifice, asking, "What happened to the sacrifice?" The white-haired official confirms that the sacrifice has been secured, respectfully addressing the red-haired official as "my lord." The red-haired official's gaze is distant, a calculating expression settling on his face as he processes the information. Red-haired official dismisses the white-haired official, saying, "All right, you can leave now," who bows respectfully and exits the room with an, "Okay, my lord." Alone, the red-haired official muses on Tiny's intentions, deciding to overlook the little thing for now, despite his confusion. In a stark contrast, Tiny looks on in shock as a drop of his blood falls from his finger into the outstretched hand of the mysterious hooded figure who stands silently behind him. The red-haired official's thoughts continue, focusing on a goblet of swirling red liquid as he considers the single problem. "The only problem I have is, if he isn't from that family." The red-haired official's thoughts continue, focusing on a goblet of swirling red liquid as he considers the single problem. "The only problem I have is, if he isn't from that family." He realizes the dire consequences if his assumption is wrong, admitting, if that's the case, it won't be only those bastards but also me, the supervisor of wolves. He quickly reassures himself, concluding, but such a thing won't happen. He observes Tiny's projected image, convinced, seeing how he acts and talks and the knowledge of the past he possesses. "I'm sure he is from a prestigious family. Besides, it's impossible for a kid to beat a knight with just talent." Red-haired official continues to rationalize, imagining Tiny in a fighting stance. He muses, it would only make sense if he learned that family's secret technique. His gaze sharpens, focusing on Tiny's distinct features, adding another layer to his fabricated proof, and especially those black hair and eyes. Sitting up in his bed, the red-haired official finally affirms his conviction, stating, "Yeah, there is no better proof than that one." Lying back down, a look of smug satisfaction spreads across the red-haired official's face as he declares, "I am already excited to meet him." His peaceful slumber is abruptly shattered by a jarring magical alert jolting him awake. He thinks, "Alert magic?" Sitting up with a frustrated hand to his head, the red-haired official angrily questions, "Is it the slave? How dare they annoy me?" His annoyance quickly morphs into a sinister decision as he coldly declares, "I guess I'm gonna use them as the sacrifice." An extreme close-up of the red-haired official's eye reveals a shocking reflection. Tiny, weapon raised, descending with lethal intent. Tiny's powerful strike connects, his massive weapon tearing through the red-haired official's body with a brutal, crimson impact. Guttural scream of agony erupts from the red-haired official, his eyes bulging in terror and disbelief as the fatal blow lands. Tiny stands over the bleeding red-haired official, his expression grim as he delivers his cold judgment. "Pay for your sins, estate lord." The red-haired official gags on his own blood, his eyes wide in disbelief and terror as he barely manages to utter a choked, desperate question. How? Final, devastating surge of purple and red energy erupts from the impact, signifying the red-haired official's complete annihilation. The opulent bedroom is now a scene of horror. The red-haired official lies impaled on his bed, Tiny's massive weapon still embedded in his chest amidst a pool of blood. A maid, discovering the gruesome scene, screams in utter horror, clutching her face in disbelief and terror. Other servants arrive in the hallway, one gasping in shock as the maid sobs, muttering in despair, "My lord." An armored knight, inspecting the scene, speculates if a black magician is responsible, then quickly dismisses the thought in disbelief, stating, "No, it can't be." A knight explains that a priest has already inspected the scene, adding, since they detected traces of demonic energy, they have gone to report this to the church. Knight, identified by a system prompt as Files Nightgren, states that investigators from the royal palace will also be arriving shortly. Another knight questions the red-haired official's unusual condition, noting, by the way, why is he in such a condition? It looks as if he has been dead for weeks. As the camera focuses on the red-haired official's rapidly decaying face, a knight remarks that he heard the bodies of black magicians are known to rot immediately after death. One knight recoils in disgust, declaring the sight horrible, while another remains silently contemplative. The mustached knight gazes at the scene, pondering the red-haired official's choices. Why did you abandon your bloodline of being a noble and choose a life that would get you killed when discovered? Another knight interjects with a practical observation, stating bluntly, there is no use asking a dead man. Two knights observe Tiny's weapon, still embedded in the red-haired official, and realize with alarm, that sword. I'm sure it's our Grandmaster's sword. A wave of disbelief washes over the knights as one questions, could it be that our Grandmaster, while another immediately dismisses the terrifying thought, muttering, no way, impossible. One knight recalls Tiny's exceptional talent, noting he was so talented that he even got the opportunity to meet our Lord one-on-one. Another knight voices a growing concern, speculating, what if they argued that the kid should be appointed as the new Grandmaster or something? The discussion continues among the knights, with one dismissing the idea of the Grandmaster acting so rashly, stating, "I don't think he would do such a thing." Another knight adds, "That's impossible unless he has gone mad." The knights gather somberly around the Grandmaster's bed, a silent question hanging in the air. If it wasn't him, who could have been responsible for the current chaos? The mustached knight voices the collective anxiety, asserting, "We can't stay at ease in this state." In the castle hallway, two knights diligently question a pair of maids, seeking any clues regarding the Grandmaster's disappearance. The investigation presses on as a knight interrogates two guards, who appear bewildered by the questions. The mustached knight sits in contemplation, reviewing the collected testimonies with a thoughtful, drawn-out maid, visibly shaken, reveals a crucial detail to the mustached knight and a guard. They all say that they saw that brat Tiny beaten by the Grandmaster. A knight descends a flight of stairs, convinced that the entire mystery hinges on a single individual, declaring, "This will all be solved with one witness." Tiny, bruised and solemn, begins to recount his story. "Yesterday, the estate lord was going to give me an armor suit, so I went to see him." Mustached knight listens intently, his expression grave as he processes Tiny's testimony. Tiny continues his account, expressing his shock. "I really didn't expect Grandmaster to hit me so suddenly like that, and, of course, I didn't get the armor." A powerful armored fist slams down, visually representing the Grandmaster's sudden and brutal attack on Tiny. An angry knight reports the findings of the investigation. "The storage has already been investigated. There were traces, but the Grandmaster certainly left that place." The knight's frustration mounts as he reveals, "There is no one in the castle who saw him." Tiny, with a puzzled expression, asks, "Have you really never seen Grandmaster since then?" Tiny's gaze is fixed, pressing his question. "Did you really not see the Grandmaster after that meeting?" Tiny confirms his own experience, stating, "No, I didn't." The mustached knight probes further, asking if anything else seemed odd. Tiny recalls, "Well, he did harshly express how he didn't like the fact that the estate lord was fond of me, but..." Tiny reiterates with a slight wince, "I haven't seen him since then." Mustached Knight confirms the consistency of Tiny's story, noting it matches exactly with the testimonies of the other servants. "Okay, I get it." Tiny, with a tear welling in his eye, anxiously asks, "What's going to happen to me now?" Tiny's eyes narrow as he falls into a moment of silent contemplation, a realization slowly forming. Sudden thought strikes Tiny, making him look up sharply at the closed door. Tiny's internal monologue reveals his growing suspicion. "If he is one of the knights of this place, I'm sure he is also a rotten one, but why can't I seem to remember his face? Did I just forget?" Tiny dismisses the idea of memory loss, recalling a vivid mental image of himself standing victorious over defeated knights. "No way. I still have a clear memory of beating those bastards down." Tiny's suspicion deepens as he considers the knight's motives. "It's suspicious for him to ask me to come back again when he had already finished questioning me." The mustached knight places a mercenary plaque and a pouch of money on the table, instructing Tiny, "Take these." Tiny's eyes widen in surprise as he picks up the items. "Mercenary plaque and money?" Mustached Knight explains his reasoning. "If you wish to move to another land freely, you should at least have the identity of a mercenary or a merchant. This plaque, made by me, will assure others of your identity, but it's just for a C-rank mercenary." Tiny's confusion deepens as he holds the items, questioning the knight's motives. "I was planning to make this anyway. Why are you giving me this?" The mustached knight, with a confident expression, declares that staying in a backwater place would be a waste of Tiny's talent, urging him to venture out to a bigger ocean. Tiny's eyes narrow slightly, a thoughtful maybe echoing in his mind as he considers the knight's words. The mustached knight lets out a hearty laugh, playfully telling Tiny there's no need for excessive gratitude. Bright smile crosses Tiny's face as he thanks the mustached knight, revealing he was already contemplating leaving. Tiny's gaze hardens, a quiet resolve settling in his determined eyes. A chilling, distorted scream echoes from a face contorted in pure terror and agony, a glimpse of a haunting vision. Tiny, sitting on a grand chair and holding a small, glowing object, reflects that while he stopped that person's actions, the Duke's investigation team would now also be absent. His fingers carefully trace the intricate design of the small, golden ring, which emits a soft, ethereal glow. The mustached knight, pleased with Tiny's decision, asks him to remember his name once he achieves success. Tiny innocently asks for the mustached knight's name, eliciting a shocked outburst from the knight, who can't believe Tiny didn't know it until now. Shaking off his surprise, the mustached knight introduces himself with a resigned smile as Gren Liberty. Tiny, beaming, addresses him as Sir Gren and begins to ask him to remember his name as well. As Tiny walks away through the sunlit town, his request to Sir Gren to remember his name echoes, a silent promise. Looking back at the grand estate, Tiny muses that with both the estate lord and grandmaster gone, the future of Files now rests entirely on the shoulders of the mustached knight. Gren Liberty, scratching his head in frustration, realizes they'll need a tracking magician to find the grandmaster, while Tiny grins, acknowledging the unsolvable mystery he's left behind. Hand deftly slides a mysterious white card into a hidden pocket. Tiny's eyes widen in surprise as a surge of blue energy manifests around him. A white wolf barks urgently at Tiny, who, understanding its intent, refuses to ride it, citing the long distance and his aversion to motion sickness. Massive, shadowy figure looms, warning that a human attempting to ride a dire wolf would quickly succumb to motion sickness and vomit. Resigned, Tiny concedes, settling onto the back of the white wolf. Despite his current actions, the narration points out that Tiny still retains his small physical appearance, riding the large wolf. System prompt explains that when such entities manifest physically, their size is directly proportional to the master's strength, showing a glimpse of a powerful, larger Tiny with a massive axe. Blue energy crackles around Tiny's hands as he places them on the wolf's fur, initiating a powerful connection. Tiny, now imbued with a vibrant blue aura, rides the similarly glowing wolf through a dark, ethereal space dotted with luminous orbs. Tiny grunts in surprise, questioning internally if their souls and senses were meant to merge as one first. Tiny declares his readiness to try, as the system reveals his spirit tamer skill has reached level 2, intensifying the blue aura around him and the wolf. The powerful skill, Soul Link, activates, visually merging Tiny's presence with the glowing essence of the wolf. Wolf growls softly as Tiny observes, your body, noticing a sudden change in its form. Tiny's eyes widen in astonishment as the wolf's form visibly bulks up, its muscles rippling with potent blue energy. A silver-haired woman with elf-like ears appears, observing the scene and noting that the manifestation is different for everyone. Observing Tiny's powerful spirit, the narrator notes that the master's traits undeniably transfer to the spirit's appearance. Tiny grins, realizing that his spirit has become stiff and strong, understanding this unique trait of a spirit. A sudden realization hits Tiny as he exclaims in shock, "Tamer?" Tiny clings to his spirit, a massive white wolf, as it surges forward with incredible speed, leaving the town behind. The spirit's powerful legs blur with motion, kicking up dust as it propels them across the terrain. As they race through the vibrant landscape, Tiny muses that they'll reach Valentino much sooner than anticipated, perhaps even venturing beyond. From an aerial view, the journey continues as the narrator recalls how, in a past life, disasters plagued the continent, heralding the arrival of the Demon King's army. Tiny's gaze hardens, remembering that the chaos began with the disappearance of Karun's relic, a threat he is now determined to stop first. An ethereal image of a goddess appears, representing the 7 sacred relics she bestowed upon humanity. Countless figures with raised hands depict humanity's desperate hope, for these relics were meant to be their final resort, yet something went wrong. With resolute eyes, Tiny declares his intent to grow stronger through each disaster in this life, vowing to fight the Demon King's army alongside an unweakened humanity. Wolf speeds onward as Tiny mentally confirms his destination, Karun, the site of the first disaster, after a crucial visit to the Duke. In a bustling town square, whispers circulate about the assassination of the estate lord, with rumors suggesting he was a black magician. 2 townspeople, their backs turned, express their hope of not getting entangled in such dangerous affairs. One townsperson urges caution, suggesting they avoid leaving their homes, while another agrees, fearing the unfolding events. A lone figure stands in the street, observing the quiet, tense atmosphere of the town. A guard stands watch, unaware of the ominous presence of a hooded figure radiating dark energy just below. 2 guards, including the mustached knight, confront the shadowy intruder, demanding they identify themselves. The hooded figure strikes with blinding speed, sending one guard reeling backward as dark energy flashes. Both guards lie incapacitated on the stone ground, their spears discarded, as the hooded figure stands victorious above them. Inside a grand hall, the mustached knight stands, reviewing documents, oblivious to the infiltration. The mustached knight's face shows a flicker of concern, his eyes reflecting an unseen blue light. Startled, the mustached knight draws his sword, challenging the hooded figure who has appeared before him. The hooded figure stands calmly, stating that they have a question for the knight. Pointing a demanding finger, the hooded figure orders the knight to reveal everything he knows about the estate lord's assassination. The mustached knight recoils in shock, sweat beading on his brow as dark energy swirls around him, indicating the hooded figure's coercive power. Mustache Knight hesitates, beginning to speak first. The hooded figure waits patiently as the Mustache Knight struggles to formulate his response, clearly under duress. The hooded figure presses on, demanding to know the location of the estate lord's body, catching the Mustache Knight completely off guard. The hooded figure pulls back their cowl slightly, revealing a hint of their face as they calmly acknowledge the information received. The Mustache Knight recoils in shock, his eyes wide. He finds himself on the floor, clad in armor, questioning if he had fallen asleep. Rubbing his forehead, he admits to himself that he must have pushed himself too hard. Suddenly, a panicked guard rushes in, shouting that they have a problem. The body of the estate lord has disappeared. The Mustache Knight stares in disbelief at the grave news. In Files, the forest outside the castle, a lone hooded figure stands amidst a mystical, starlit night. A shadowy figure grasps a glowing sword, surrounded by wolf-like beasts, over a fallen man. The narrator states the owner of the sword was already found dead. A young boy with glowing blue eyes emerges from the shadows, while the hooded figure observes. The dialogue suggests the culprit is the one who killed the wolf, and it must be that black-haired kid who disappeared after the incident. At Licentia Castle's west gate, a crowd gathers, including Tiny, who walks towards the entrance. Tiny, looking young and determined, walks through the bustling crowd. The older man gestures animatedly while Tiny stands nearby. The narration suggests things have gone smoothly, but if that person acts, complications may arise. Tiny sighs, exhaling softly, impatient to receive his equipment soon. Tiny holds out 2 gold coins, acknowledging the kindness shown but feeling it's not enough. The 2 gold coins rest in Tiny's palm. 2 menacing figures, one holding a sword hilt and the other a knife, leer at the scene. 2 thugs confront Tiny, brandishing their weapons. One demands he pull out his money while they're still being nice. The thugs turn their attention to the bystanders, demanding to know if they have any money. Tiny grins menacingly, his fists clenched, ready for confrontation. Tiny reflects on an unwritten rule from his past life. When the shadow of a giant appears, one should not even make a sound. A colossal, muscular figure appears, wielding a massive weapon, casting a long shadow. The onlookers stare in shock. As the towering figure crouches, a voice warns that killing so many people will taint one's soul. Another voice suggests that someday conscience will make him suffer, and asks why he doesn't show them mercy. Colossal figure replies that if that were to happen, he would be fine. A priest-like figure, with a mustache and surprised expression, claims he has never killed anyone. Tiny's eyes gleam with a predatory smile as he states that all he is doing is taking care of human trash. Bystanders are in utter shock, exclaiming that Tiny took down the Rufus gang, who were as strong as knights. One of the thugs scoffs at the notion of knights being weak, while Tiny holds a small object, seemingly unfazed. Enraged, the thug lunges forward with his sword, threatening to rip Tiny's mouth off. In a swift, brutal move, Tiny evades the attack and strikes down the thug with incredible force, sending him flying. With incredible force, Tiny strikes down the thug, sending him flying through the air. The thug's face contorts in pure terror as the impact hits. Tiny's fist connects with brutal precision, shattering the thug's defenses. Tiny lands with a flourish, while the defeated thugs scatter. The other thugs lie incapacitated on the ground, defeated by Tiny's overwhelming power. One of the thugs tries to grab Tiny, but his grip is easily broken. Tiny grins, holding up a pouch heavy with coins. "Oh, you at least have a heavy wallet." Tiny proudly displays his weapon, a formidable mace. This armor is made from the leather of an iron bull from MT Nambu. An older man examines Tiny's gear. "It will bounce off most of the arrows." Tiny adds, "Both of these look quite useful." One of the onlookers remarks, "You can't even get close anyway." Another, captivated by a passing figure, exclaims, "She is so beautiful." Tiny looks up, curious. "Is there some kind of event ongoing?" The older man replies, "Ah, don't you know?" The older man explains, "The Princess of Valencia is coming to patrol around the streets." Tiny's eyes widen in surprise at the news. Lady Clemence, adorned in elegant attire, adjusts a ring while a knight stands guard. A somber reflection. "Although things didn't end well, thanks to that hope I was able to get out of the invader. Is it because both of them changed my life? If she acknowledges my life." A towering figure stands behind Lady Clemence, her presence commanding. Tiny stands before Lady Clemence, a conversation about to unfold. Lady Clemence looks down, her expression thoughtful. "Ah, sorry, you are too big for that name." Lady Clemence seems to struggle with something, her gaze averted. Tiny reacts with a surprised pft. Tiny stands alone, a thought crossing his mind. "She has forgotten about me." runs with determination. Since we meet again right away, she is going to remember me in this life. The majestic city of Lucentia unfolds, a sprawling metropolis. Our Lucentia is... A man with a confident smile is introduced as the eldest son of Count Lucent, Edmund von Lucent. Edmund von Lucent walks with Lady Clemence, accompanied by knights. A procession of knights marches through the city streets, a show of force. Lady Clemence looks surprised, while Edmund von Lucent gestures enthusiastically. Edmund von Lucent states, "I'm not that interested in commerce. Anyway, can we visit the ghetto?" Lady Clemence explains her reasoning, because they are also the inhabitants of this land. He must have learned these things if he was educated to be an heir. The older gentleman smiles, holding a book. Is my dad the weird one since he puts into practice whatever he learns? If only I could. I would definitely like to step up and convince the people to change their perspective, but rest of my life won't be as free as now. Should I just take refuge in a temple? The love call of the temple has been around for a long time. But my father would be disheartened, right? He won't want me to get old all alone. Kid, huh? A young boy, Tiny, stands ready with his weapon, facing off against armored knights. Lady Clemence and the others watch from behind. Tiny glares intensely, his spiky hair framing a determined face. Lady Clemence asks, "Who is that kid? Where did he come from?" While another voice warns, "Kid, step away from here this instant." Tiny shifts his stance, preparing for action. Tiny holds up a ring, proclaiming, "This is a ring that was given by the princess herself." Tiny approaches the group, stating, "You told me to come look for you. Took me a while, but here I am to visit you just as you wanted." Lady Clemence's eyes widen in shock as she sees her reflection in the ring. Lady Clemence confirms, "This is indeed my ring." The others react with disbelief, asking, "Are you sure?" Lady Clemence muses, "But that's weird. I gave this ring to a kid from the ghetto." Lady Clemence questions, "How did you get this, sir?" Tiny reacts with shock, exclaiming, "What?" Tiny's eyes widen in surprise and fear as a barrage of attacks closes in. The ring floats in the air as Lady Clemence watches. Tiny is overwhelmed by multiple swords, struggling to defend himself. The red-haired official demands, "Answer me, kid." Tiny, caught between the swords, strains to hold them back. Lady Clemence looks confused, asking, "What?" Tiny explains, "Of course, she can't recognize me because I suddenly grew up." Tiny points to himself, stating, "Only I have black hair in the land of files." Lady Clemence questions, But still how? You looked way more poor and weak. You couldn't even talk that well." Tiny replies, "That's all because of that wolf bastard. He said it would be a hindrance for bragging." Lady Clemence muses, "Come to think of it, she has always liked something small and cute." Lady Clemence muses, "Come to think of it, she has always liked something small and cute." Her eyes widen in astonishment. Lady Clemence coos, "How can something be this cute?" Lady Clemence holds the creature. Tiny remarks, "I heard spirits contract with only those with a pure heart." "Well, that is indeed true," he adds. Tiny stands with his hands on his hips, a determined look on his face. The red-haired official scoffs. He is armed with real weapons and spirit. Lady Clemence asks the creature, "What's the name of this child?" Lady Clemence replies, "I named him Lunar Wolf. In the East, it means Wolf of Moonlight." Tiny adds, "It's a lovely name." Lady Clemence exclaims, "I didn't expect you to change this much in just a couple of months." Tiny explains, "Yes, Tiny, and I've just turned 13 this year. After learning mana, I started growing faster." The red-haired official interjects, "Right, it was definitely that name." The red-haired official confronts Tiny, "Who the hell are you? Are you some kind of demi-human, or what?" The red-haired official continues, "Sorry for my rudeness, but it's my duty to keep you safe." The older brown-haired official states, "I also think he is suspicious. I think it would be wise to keep him away from you and interrogate him." "Sir Edmund," someone calls out. Tiny declares, "I won't ask the others to believe me. My lady, when you gave me this ring, you told me to ask for help whenever I needed one." The red-haired official shouts in disbelief, "How dare that kid ignore me?" Tiny asks, "Can I meet Mr. Esgard von Valencia?" Knights surround Tiny aggressively. "You brat, how dare you? You must be crazy." Tiny questions his attackers, "Do you think I can harm him in any way whatsoever?" A powerful aura crackles around a figure wielding a sword, described as one of the 7 superhumans of this continent and someone who uses aura, the power of destruction. Red-haired official looks on with wide, surprised eyes. Lady Clemence chuckles, "Haha, Sword Emperor, huh? I think even my father would be embarrassed to hear that nickname. It hasn't been long since he was listed as one of the 7 greatest knights on the continent." Tiny gasps, realizing something. Right, at this moment he isn't... Tiny muses, that is indeed the nickname that suits him, but… Tiny exclaims, I didn't know he was this famous. Even in the countryside, the red-haired official seems amused. Tiny states, I would like to tell him about the recent incidents that happened in files, as one of the people who experienced it. Lady Clemence inquires, something like that happened? The red-haired official confirms, yes. Lady Clemence asks, is there anything else? Tiny said that you were hiding from me? The red-haired official murmurs, that was quite dangerous. Red-haired official explains, not at all. Just like he said, the estate lord of files was a black magician and it seemed like there was someone behind him. Lady Clemence concludes, since he experienced that personally, he is an important witness. Lady Clemence muses, this is good. Tiny wanted to see my father anyway. She then thinks to herself, I should go see my father right now. The knight interrupts, but my lady, until when are you going to hold that spirit? Lady Clemence holds up a small wolf-like creature, asking, if it harms you in any way, are you talking about the small and cute child? The small wolf barks, woof. Knight blushes, stammering, see cute. The knight quickly recovers, exclaiming, and no, I will keep an eye on it more closely. So where is Tiny? The knight replies, I'm not sure. Sir Edmund said he had some business with the kid and took him away. The wolf asks, business? What business? Suddenly, a bright blue energy erupts from Lady Clemence's hands, startling both her and the knight. New scene unfolds. A voice states, finally, we can have a proper conversation. A young boy, Tiny, stands before a man in a suit. The man asks, what was your name again? Tiny replies, Tiny. He then exclaims, surprised, did you just talk to me as if talking to a friend? Tiny continues, his expression shifting to one of suspicion. You said there is something you know about the black magician? The man scoffs, why the hell would I care about the black magician? I just made that up because you were being stubborn. Tiny narrows his eyes, so you lied to me, huh? The man sighs, running a hand through his hair in frustration. Stop talking back to me, fucking illiterate. His face contorts in rage. Don't you have any manners? Man lunges forward, his fist aimed at Tiny. Tiny blocks the attack with surprising ease. The man exclaims in disbelief, you dare to block me? Did you just… The man cries out in pain and shock. I can't move my arm. Tiny stands his ground as the man thrashes, his arm seemingly paralyzed. Tiny looks confused by the man's outburst. Nonable? What kind of word is that? The man, flustered, shouts, oh gosh, go ahead and do whatever you want. Tiny grins, a mischievous glint in his eye. But before that, let's say what you got. I'm sure you called me out here because you think you have something great, nonable man. The man, enraged, shouts, brat. Flashes a sinister grin. Okay then, follow me. Meanwhile, the knight, Vivian, is on horseback, urging her steed forward. Giddy up. Lady Clemence appears distressed, her eyes wide with fear. Vivian, hurry up and go find Tiny. When the princess said that, I thought she was overreacting. Vivian grits her teeth, determined, because spirits usually depawn when they go far from their contractor. Vivian points towards a castle in the distance. But Edmund really took the kid to the castle. She spurs her horse on, desperate. Please. Vivian races towards the grand castle, hoping she isn't too late. I hope I'm not late. Inside the castle, the man's sinister smile widens as he looks at Tiny. A burly man, clearly a guard, exclaims in surprise, oh my, what brings the young lord to this place? The blonde man questions, what are you doing here? The due date is still far away. Are you looking for the product? A group of tough-looking men, including a mustached knight and a man identified as Tillman, stare forward with grim expressions. Tiny sighs, a sound of exasperation escaping him. TSK, I knew it. Blonde man, with a dismissive wave, instructs, rather, make sure you educate this cheeky commoner. The mustached knight reacts with disbelief, stammering, pardon, that kid? The blonde man retorts, you should know your place. Don't talk back and educate him. Mustached knight, accepting the order, simply states, understood. An order is given, Eric, Tillman, teach him a good lesson. Eric prepares himself. Eric and Tillman stare at Tiny with surprise, uttering, what the? Tiny stands his ground, arms crossed, with a determined look. Eric and Tillman exchange bewildered glances. Tiny waves cheerfully, greeting them, hi, nice to see you again. Eric and Tillman are visibly shocked by Tiny's demeanor. Mustache Knight, impatient, barks, Eric, Tillman, what are you two standing still for? Tillman, pointing at Tiny, exclaims to his brother, brother, this is the kid I told you about. One of the guards menacingly states, you're out of luck, kid, as another adds, you should have stayed out of this. Blonde man grins maliciously, declaring, now, that arrogant face of yours will end here. The mustached knight raises his weapon, ready to strike Tiny. Tiny dodges the powerful overhead swing from the Mustache Knight. The Mustache Knight is sent flying backward from the force of Tiny's counterattack. Powerful blast erupts, throwing everyone back. The Mustache Knight lies defeated on the ground. Tiny grins, gripping his weapon, ready for the next opponent. Blonde Man and the others stare in disbelief, exclaiming, "The heck and what?" Tiny taunts his opponent. "Is that all?" Someone calls out, "Our Rufus, come down now and protect me." A dark aura surrounds Tiny as he challenges, "Do it if you can." A man groans, his eyes rolling back as he's violently struck. Tiny stands back, a defeated opponent sprawled on the ground and another being slammed into the stairs. Tiny comments, "What was that? I didn't expect the gang leader to be such a loser." Tiny turns, addressing the remaining opponents, "Now then." He grins wickedly, asking, "What about you guys?" Two men react with sheer terror, sweat pouring down their faces. Female knight charges forward, shouting, "Tiny!" Her eyes widen in alarm. The scene shows several defeated individuals scattered on the floor, with Tiny and the female knight standing amidst them. Person, face down on the ground, cries out, "That's Edmund." Tiny sits on a metal surface, calmly reading a book. A knight asks Tiny, "Why did you come all the way here?" while another voice questions, "What's going on?" Tiny presents a book to the female knight, stating, "It's a bribery ledger." She reacts with shock. "What?" As Tiny explains, these guys were involved in human trafficking, without knowing how scary the imperial law is. Tiny gestures dismissively, saying, "I don't think even he would be able to feign ignorance with this evidence." The knight looks on, seemingly contemplating you. The scene shifts to the next day, showing a royal carriage being escorted by knights. Inside the carriage, Lady Clemens states, "He must have been working with that human trafficking organization for a long time." The female knight replies, "Thanks to this incident, the Count's reputation has also been shaken." The female knight looks down, dejected, saying, "I'm sorry." Lady Clemens responds, "The relationship between the princess and the Count family is going to get a lot worse moving forward." Lady Clemens looks at the knight with a piercing gaze, asking, "Do you really think you made a mistake?" Lady Clemens's expression is thoughtful as she looks out. Lady Clemens interrupts, "To be honest, I don't think so." She then calls out, "Tiny!" Lady Clemens lets out a small scoff. She laughs, exclaiming, "I knew it." The female knight calls out, surprised, "Princess." Lady Clemens states, "Reward and punishment should be applied fairly regardless of one's social status. That's what Father always says. Did you forget, Vivian?" Female knight, Vivian, looks confused, asking, "Then why were you staring at me like that?" Tiny grins while Lady Clemens looks thoughtful. Vivian sighs, that sounds cruel." Lady Clemens, now seated on a throne, looks regal. The female knight stands behind her, looking stern. Caption reads, "Even after Chloe's situation changed, they stuck together." Lady Clemens and the female knight stand together, looking out at the sky. Tiny muses, "I guess she had fun, acting like the older sister or mother of Chloe." Lady Clemens asks Tiny, "What are you thinking, Tiny?" Tiny looks up at the knight, stating that Edmund Guy was more proud of his noble status than anyone else. Tiny sits quietly as the carriage atmosphere shifts, his gaze fixed on the unfolding scene between his companions. Lady Clemens beams, explaining that she found the name of the creature too complex, so she simply settled on calling it Moon. Tiny narrows his eyes, his expression unreadable as he pointedly asks if she feels any suspicion or hesitation toward him. Lady Clemens smiles warmly, acknowledging that she has already heard the legends surrounding a mysterious dark-haired kid traveling through files. The playful wink, Lady Clemens dismisses the weight of the situation, finding the current incident to be nothing short of a fascinating development. Tiny offers a subtle, satisfied smirk, clearly relieved that his reputation precedes him in a way that earns him trust. Lady Clemens raises a finger, sternly reminding him that if such chaotic events occur again, he must inform her before taking action. Tiny lets out a soft sigh, his eyes closing as he accepts the lecture with a relaxed, compliant smile. 3 days pass as the convoy continues its steady trek through the wilderness. The group is suddenly alerted to an unexpected presence. An elf has appeared on the road, signaling for a ride. The carriage comes to a halt, and the group steps out to confront the mysterious traveler waiting in the shadows. The figure adjusts their hood, revealing an ethereal, otherworldly appearance as they introduce themselves as an attendant of the World Tree. The elf, known as Irina, bows gracefully, requesting to accompany the convoy for a short duration. Lady Clemens and her guards stare in genuine awe, completely stunned by the rare sight of an elf standing before them. Tiny feels a sudden, sharp surge of magical pressure, his eyes widening as he senses the immense power radiating from the visitor. Irina's eyes glow with a piercing, unnatural intensity, her gaze locking onto Tiny with a knowing, predatory focus. Narrator notes that the elves are legendary descendants of fairies, renowned for their beauty and their distant kingdom of Elfenheim. It is an incredibly rare occurrence to spot an elf within the borders of the Aslan Empire, situated in the heart of the continent. Despite their rarity, the local populace generally holds a welcoming and friendly attitude toward the elven race. Beyond their beauty, they are born with the innate mystical talents of a spirit tamer. The group is shocked to discover that this particular elf is actually a high-ranking Fifth Circle black magician. Lady Clemence cautiously asks if Irina is traveling all the way north to the kingdom of the Werbeasts. Irina politely asks to join their journey, acknowledging the long-standing conflict between the Empire and the Werbeast Kingdom. Lady Clemence hesitates, noting that while it isn't an issue, the destination is a significant distance away. Lady Clemence suddenly recalls rumors of the elite training programs established for the Elven Knights. Irina offers a knowing smile, impressed by how much knowledge the human possesses regarding elven affairs. Irina begins to probe further, her voice dropping as she starts to question their true identity. Irina points directly at the spirit in Lady Clemence's arms, suggesting they are the true owner of the creature. Irina confirms her suspicion, triumphantly declaring that the spirit belongs to none other than Tiny. Irina gazes intently at Tiny, noting the extreme rarity of human spirit tamers before trailing off with a mysterious comment. Tiny processes the revelation, his mind racing as he realizes the sheer scale of the power standing before him. The atmosphere grows heavy as the tension between Tiny and the mysterious figure reaches a breaking point. Tiny stares in awe, his internal monologue confirming the gravity of the situation. He is completely outmatched. Shock ripples through the ranks as the true nature of their opponent begins to surface. Eyes widen in sheer disbelief, the realization dawning on them like a cold blade. Confusion escalates as the name Tiny is uttered, shattering the professional composure of the surrounding knights. Tiny feels a surge of relief, knowing his trump card remains hidden from their prying eyes. The air crackles with malevolence as the figure taunts them, her demonic aura leaking out. Flames erupt in her palm, a display of raw mana manipulation that forces Tiny to analyze her technique. Tiny observes the subtle shifts in the environment, his tactical mind scanning for any opening. The knights recount their defensive capabilities, unaware of the impending doom. Power disparity is laid bare, leaving the group questioning if their strength is truly enough. The cold logic of combat scales is presented, illustrating the impossible gap between circles and levels. The sheer impossibility of the challenge hits home. It would take an army of clones just to stand a chance. A desperate plan forms in the heat of the moment. A surprise attack is their only path to survival. Tiny clenches his fist, the signal to act now or lose everything. Chaos erupts as the spirit leaps into action, catching everyone off guard. Tension breaks with a moment of unexpected levity as the spirit is caught. The figure watches with a twisted smile, finding the display of affection amusing. The offer is extended, a deceptive kindness meant to lure them into a false sense of security. The trap is set and the target reaches out, completely oblivious to the danger. Sudden, violent impact shatters the scene, throwing the knights into disarray. The spirit strikes with lethal precision, channeling raw energy into a devastating blow. The figure recoils, the surprise attack landing true and drawing blood. The wound is deep, a visceral reminder that even the most powerful can be brought low. A counterstrike is launched, the blade piercing through the dark magic. The revelation of demonic energy sends a chill through the knight's spines. The mask slips, revealing the true face of the black magician as her composure crumbles. Confusion reigns as the tide turns, the attackers struggling to comprehend the sudden shift. Lady Clemence stands firm, her eyes burning with a resolve that confirms her true strength. The presence of a high-ranking black magician elf is confirmed, casting a long shadow over the situation. Critical question hangs in the air. Is cooperation with Vivian truly necessary for their survival? Lady Clemence reacts with visible shock, her composure momentarily shattered by the unfolding events. Tiny remains vigilant, staying close to the defensive line as tensions reach a boiling point. The weight of the situation is heavy. A single misstep could escalate this into an international incident. Tiny identifies the incoming threat, noting that backup from the Files estate lord is closing in fast. Lady Clemence makes a vow, declaring she will take full responsibility for the consequences with her own life. Her eyes widen in sudden realization, capturing the sheer gravity of the danger they are facing. Amidst the chaos, a request is made to hold the creature for just a moment. A surge of magical energy erupts, forcing the group into a desperate defensive stance. The impact ripples through the air, sending everyone scrambling to avoid the shockwave. Tiny and the others curse their luck, realizing their strike failed to pierce the target's heart. The enemy unleashes a protective barrier, shouting for a shield to hold back the assault. The order is given. The troops must charge immediately to capitalize on the opening. Knights surge forward, their primary objective clear: protect the princess at all costs. Tiny lunges forward, his weapon crackling with power as he closes the distance. The recoil is immense, forcing Tiny back as the barrier proves stronger than anticipated. The battlefield turns into a blur of motion as the clash between magic and steel intensifies. Pure magical energy manifests, swirling into a devastating attack directed at the knights. The knights stand their ground, bracing for the impact of the incoming purple flames. The enemy screams in frustration, demanding to know how their position was compromised. Tiny retorts with a smirk, claiming the stench of the enemy gave them away instantly. The realization hits the enemy like a physical blow, leaving them stunned. The magical assault reaches its peak, threatening to consume everything in its path. Tiny prepares for the worst, his eyes locked onto the source of the overwhelming power. Concentrating every ounce of mana, the enemy prepares a final, explosive discharge. A massive detonation rocks the area, blinding everyone with a flash of violet light. Tiny stands ready, bracing himself against the shockwave as the dust begins to settle. He crosses his arms, preparing to activate his ultimate defense. Kicking off the ground, he activates Iron Body, enveloping himself in a protective aura to withstand the blast. Tiny crashes into the ground, the force of the impact sending shockwaves through the immediate area. Gaining his footing, Tiny slides across the debris, his expression tight with concentration. Tiny gasps, realizing he has just used Iron Body for the first time in this life. That was far too close for comfort. A knight cries out in panic that their shield is failing, desperately urging her comrades to strike down the demon worshipper. Battlefield erupts as knights are sent flying, their defensive lines shattered by a surge of dark energy. Tiny leaps into the fray, mounting the lunar wolf to regain his mobility. Tiny declares that they will fight alongside the knights, charging headlong toward the source of the purple barrier. The powerful strike, Tiny swings his weapon, testing the durability of the shimmering defensive field. The knights rally, their blades glowing as they prepare to assault the barrier in unison. Steel clashes against the magical barrier, creating a blinding discharge of light and energy. The figure behind the barrier growls, noting that while the original plan was to kill only one, the situation has escalated. Eyes burning with malevolence, the figure decides to eliminate everyone present. Tiny retorts with a sharp insult, refusing to be intimidated by the empty threats. The barrier pulses violently as the knights continue their relentless assault. The figure curses under their breath, clearly agitated by the group's persistence. Tiny launches himself into the air, aiming a direct strike at the heart of the magical defense. A massive impact occurs, sending debris flying as the barrier struggles to hold. Explosion forces the knights back, creating a thick shroud of smoke and dust. The figure shouts for everyone to move, sensing the imminent collapse of their protection. Furious, the figure screams in disbelief at the audacity of their attackers. Tiny and the knights coordinate their movements, preparing for a final, decisive strike. The figure loses their composure, cursing their fate while vowing to kill them all. A surge of chaotic power erupts, catching the knights off guard. Mysterious figure appears in the distance, watching the magical surge with a look of shock. The woman's eyes widen in absolute terror as the energy wave approaches. A knight intervenes, narrowly deflecting the incoming magical strike to protect her comrade. The knight shouts for everyone to hold their ground, bracing against the force of the impact. Sweat beads on the knight's forehead as she struggles to maintain her defensive stance. Looking up at the sky, the knight catches sight of a terrifying streak of purple fire descending toward them. Tiny realizes he can now completely block the flame, surrounding himself in a protective blue aura. Tiny notes that his Iron Body skill has surpassed the level he achieved in his previous life, bolstered by the improvements he's made. A knight stands ready, sword drawn, as the tension in the air reaches a breaking point. Tiny calls out to the group, urging them to unleash a barrage of attacks to overwhelm their target. Tiny watches with a grin, confirming that their combined assault is actually having an effect. A massive purple explosion rocks the battlefield, forcing the knights to cry out for Tiny as he is caught in the blast. Tiny maneuvers his mount through the chaos, narrowly avoiding the encroaching magical energy. The wounded foe clutches her side, her expression twisted in pain and growing malice. Tiny feels the rhythm of the battle, satisfied that his strategy is unfolding exactly as he predicted. Without hesitation, Tiny signals for another coordinated strike. The knights surge forward once more, their blades gleaming as they prepare to attack again. Wounded enemy recoils, her hands glowing with dark energy as she seethes with indignation. She lashes out, cursing the humans for their insolence as a wave of violet flame erupts from her. The knight grinds her teeth, steeling herself against the intense magical pressure. Tiny struggles against the backlash, gasping as the magical storm intensifies. Tiny pushes himself further, needing just a little more time to finalize his move. With a focused strike, Tiny prepares to pierce through the enemy's defenses. Tiny strikes, his weapon cutting through the air with blinding speed. The command is given to finish her off, and the knights move in unison to obey. A powerful shockwave tears through the ground, sending debris flying everywhere. Tiny winces, feeling the heat of the battle as he sustains a fresh wound. Watching from a distance, the enemy realizes that her forces are beginning to retreat. Her eyes glow with a fanatical light as she calls upon her lord for grace. A gargantuan shadow manifestation looms behind her, radiating a terrifying aura. Tiny watches in horror, recognizing the forbidden ritual of sacrificing one's body to amplify magic. The enemy begins the process of self-immolation, her body consumed by violet flames. She screams for the world to burn, her power reaching a catastrophic peak. The impact of her energy strikes the knights, throwing them back with immense force. Tiny holds his ground, riding through the inferno to reach his objective. Tiny realizes the knights have reached their breaking point and desperately needs an explosive finishing blow. The allies confirm they have bought enough time, signaling Chloe to take the lead. Signaling Lady Clemence to take the lead as she channels a brilliant golden aura.